Hi, everybody. It's Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and I am talking like a total goofball here. What's up, everybody? Can't always be like, calm and sometimes I gotta be goofed out. I'll tell you. So, what's up? How's everybody doing? Corey, what's up, Deputy Sheriff Corey? I am here. Yes, you are. Good evening. How you doing? Was Jamie Braddock always written as, well, somewhat loony? Yes. He's currently being written in the Excalibur comics. He's mostly only written in Excalibur comics. He's a very select breed of cool. I personally don't like Jamie Braddock at all. I really just don't like the character, the idea that he's so freaking loony, crazy, out of this world. Nah, it's not cool. It's not cool. Just saying, it's not cool. For me at least, it's not my particular cup of tea. Nah, I don't want that. uh, I'm somewhat concerned about Apocalypse's solo diplomatic skill. Right? Yeah. See, I like him a lot better in the X-Men book than I do, or the X-Force book. I think he's also written in than I do in the Excalibur book. I'm just not feeling that. It is what it is, man. At least I learned from this week's issues. Do not interrupt him while at work. And the whole lies are beneath me line. Does that hold up to the past writers have scribed for him? No, no, nobody's gonna really write everybody the same way. But I think that that this version of him was really inspired off of the Thanos idea. It's like, listen, I will kill, murder, pillage. I'll do all sorts of ridiculously nasty, vile things to humankind. But I mean, I don't lie. I'm not a liar. You can't really call me a liar. I never taught you to lie. Like, come on, man. Um, it's like the what do you call it? Being in prison and people judge you for what you've been brought in for. Oh, you're an arsonist, so you ain't done no real crime. You ain't done no up close and personal violent crimes, right? Yeah, coward, wimp. It's like, dude, you're all in here for prison. Shut up. there's, there's just no need for this. What's up, Raven? How you doing? Paula, what's up, Paula? I got a certain box from you there, Paula. I would like to say thank you very much. I'm going to do an unboxing for that. Um, Future info for everybody. I'm not going to say how much this cost, but uh, anybody who's going to send me a package, I love y'all. You guys are awesome. Please do not put the value of the package is like up to $250, because in Canada, I know this doesn't mean anything in America, but in Canada, we seem to get charged this thing called duty. So I got a call from Carlos yesterday. Hey, Bill, you got a package? Oh, hey, cool. Thanks. I'll be in to pick it up tomorrow, meaning today. He's like, yeah, you owe me money. Like, I'm sorry, what? they they don't actually open up the box and look at the actual value of it, but but apparently if it's valued at over 50 or $100, I don't know, then it's what do you call it? They actually apply duty to it. So I know, like, in America, when I used to mail things, any kind of a package, I'd be like, value of $250. I would always put that. That's the maximum you could do without actually getting insurance on it. So this way, if something goes bad, I can be refunded for this, right? They'll give me like $250, something like that. Yeah, the problem is that when you ship it overseas, they actually pay attention to that. So appreciate all the love in the world. God bless. But yeah. Oh, no. And I'm seeing Paula also ask, so what is that universal secret? I only have enough space to put 50 characters here. It was supposed to be the world that hides the universal. Let's see if I can do this all right. Oh, and I should go get my guitar because I can actually play this song, but who knows this song? I am the world that hides the universal secret of all time. Destruction of the empty spaces is my one and only crime. It's a Black Sabbath song, Ozzy Osbourne. It's called National Acrobat. Anyway, so I had that song in my head, so I was like, ooh. So I typed it all out. That's the universe. Anyway. Let's see. Also, Corey says, also, have Zod and Ross ever met or worked before? Just jump up until now. When are they working together? What book are they working together? Are they working together in what the heck is it called? In Batman Superman or something? I don't know what book they're in that they're working. I'm not watching everything. There are ranks in Gaul. Oh, are you talking about Gaul? The oh, what the heck is that called? What the heck is that called? Shoot, I can't remember. Oh, for crying out loud. Yeah, Gaul, that's a thing. Darn it. Ah, whatever. The thing with the birds, right? You're talking the Guardians of Gaul, right? Is that what you're talking about there, Raven? Bow. Yes. You know what? Corey actually has a really good point there. Continued prayers. I know that Raven's saying that he's not around there, but still, like the biggest freaking wildfires in the world in recorded history. Like the largest, like it's funny that we're breaking all sorts of records right now, but rich people keep on assuring us, no, 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 no. My money's more important. No, no, no. Climate change isn't real. Dude, I want to get real political in this one because I have been catching up on my stuff lately. Bow. Comic Universe. Oh, Comic Universal. Let me go back up there. There it is. What does Zod want with the Lazarus Pit? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, please tell me what book that this is in because yeah, Zod and a Lazarus Pit is actually a really good idea. Is Bendis doing that? Because that would be freaking genius if he is. And Bendis is a smart guy. Bendis is a very creative guy. He needs somebody editing him and telling him, dude, rein yourself in. All right. But I don't know who's doing that, but whoever, that's a great idea because think about it, the bottled city of Kandor and pretty much all of Krypton. Imagine if he could actually resurrect all of the Kryptonians. That would be sick if he got a Lazarus pit big enough. Imagine that, man. Bow. One extreme or the other. UPS auto puts a $200 value on the package. Oh no, those butt faces. Well, I guess that's just Canada then. I might have to switch up and not do that thing, the unboxing openings thing. Yeah, because this could get real expensive real quick. And in terms of this week's Batman, Sean Murphy, in other words, if Ryan Reynolds is Pikachu, by the ending is very twisty. I never actually saw Detective Pikachu. It'll be floods next. Yes, it will be floods next. You're 100% right because if everything keeps on getting warmer, polar ice caps, they melting. Permafrost is already melting right now. My wife wanted for us to go up to the Great White North and start teaching in the Aboriginal areas up north in Canada. And I thought that'd be a great idea, just have to get some kind of a rifle, saying high powered rifle, high caliber rifle, because polar bear attacks are actually real and they will stalk and hunt humans. So if they get your scent and they think it smells good, I'm just saying, I'm Professor Bill. I probably smell at least a little bit good. You know what I'm saying? They will actually stalk you and hunt you. So yeah, no thanks. So high caliber rifle it is because wow. And I'm telling you right now, y'all can be as mad or as angry as you want if a polar bear, the one of the largest land animals, like I think it's the largest hunter land animal, predator land animal, on land. Like, dude, if one of those starts coming at me and I'm able to kill this thing, I am Instagramming the hell out of that. I would be sitting there like, look at this, yeah, look, that's right, yeah, poke the bear, I killed the bear. What up with that? I'm gonna wear this thing and everything, dude. Forget about it. I would be Professor Bear at that point because, dude, no, 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 no. This is not about hunting and thinking stuff like that is okay for scavenger. No, no, this is about survival and look at what I survived. That's what that is. That, in my opinion, is what hunting Instagram is all about. I stopped. I was the prey, and I did not allow it. Yeah, if anything, I'll probably be the bear taking Instagram pictures of me. I'm like draped over its back like a shawl. I'm like, Barry taking Instagram pictures. Oh man, probably get more hits than I do. Ah, whatever. It is what it is. Okay, so hey Suan, what's going on, lady? So that's what took my maternal grandpa away? Wait a second. Polar bears? I don't understand what's going on. We're all over the place here. Um Oh, Parkinson's. Oh, sorry. Sorry for that. Okay, it's jumping around a lot. I don't know if I can go everywhere. Hisses at everyone that doesn't believe. Suan. Uh, Canberra is the capital of Australia for all concerned. Yeah, I did not know that. I would have figured it's like Sydney. I never actually looked that one up. And U.S. history classes are synonymous with not caring about geography, especially in the world. I mean, we've only got 50 states, and most of us can't name 50 states. I can name 50 states. Freaking A, man, like 50 lousy states. Professor X, that was the end of this week's Batman Superman. Okay, so I was right on that one. Nice. Good guess on my part. So it's Joshua Williamson. That makes sense. That makes sense. All went down last pages of okay, sweet, sweet. Thank you, Comics Universal. Much appreciated. Mr. DC Comics, what's up, people? What's up? How you doing? Oh, did I tell you guys I got some ass this weekend? I know everybody's all sorts of wait, what did Professor Bill just say? I got Astro Train. Well, I was setting everything up and I was like, oh, let me show everybody this. And I'd be like, it's a funny joke. I was stupid, I know. Anyway, I got Astro Train. He's one of the triple changers for the Transformers Siege War of Cybertron stuff because they're coming out with the Earthfall stuff right now. But yeah, he turns into a train. He turns into a space shuttle because that fits. He can also do this med bay thing, which is okay, whatever. And then, of course, he turns into the robot himself, Astro Train. Jettison some weight. I'm overloaded. Remember that from Transformers the movie? And as a 12-year-old, as infatuated as I was with science, I and the movie actually came out before I was 12, but I saw it on DVD, well, videotape, VHS for the first time. That's the first time I ever got to see it was there. And I remember stopping. I was at my friend AJ's house and he rented the movie. And I was like, pause it. It goes up and he stops because no remote controls. He walked up and pushed the button on the actual box and I'm old, shut up. And I was like, AJ, why is he telling him to jettison some weight? Like, it's in space, there's no gravity. And he's like, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's why I can never enjoy anything. um, can we please keep political discussions to a minimal? The impeachment coverage is giving me stomach ulcers. Oh, I'm not really so worried with the impeachment stuff. I don't think that he's going to be impeached. I just don't think it's going to happen. It's not going to be allowed. It's going to be some nonsensical excuse, but it is what it is. No, I'm actually more concerned with the Democratic debates that happened 2 weeks ago. I'm just so shocked at the universal unfairness of it all, and people with double personalities. I don't know if anybody knew this or not, but it's a pretty big deal. Joe Rogan is saying that he's probably going to vote for Bernie Sanders. He's had a whole bunch of people on. He's had Tulsi Gabbard on, and he likes Tulsi Gabbard, but he likes Bernie Sanders' policies better. As most people in America seem to. Bernie is currently leading in the polls, which is like, yes, yes. The voting is in 5 weeks, for the primary. And it's like, yes, I wonder if he's going to get screwed this time or not. Depends, because Hillary Clinton is still trying to screw him over. Go figure. The guy goes and does more appearances for her. He does 39 to 40 appearances for her. Meanwhile, she only did 11 conventions after he dropped out because the nonsense that they did. I remember on CNN, they were like, well, everybody's voting for Bernie for the primary, but I don't think people understand. It's not the people who vote or who choose the Democratic leader. It's the super PACs. And they were looking around like this was known. Meanwhile, no one has ever heard of a PAC or a super PAC before that particular election, which is telling, isn't it? Plus, what's the purpose of us voting then? To know what we think so that they can say, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the whole thing about, oh, Joe Rogan's a bad guy. He's anti-trans. Yeah, I don't think that he's anti-trans from what I've, because I have watched some of his stuff. I don't watch all of his stuff, but I do watch a lot of Rogan. I watch enough Rogan. I'd say easily 50% of the stuff he puts out, I watch. And I don't see him as being anti-trans. I see him as being anti trans men being in the women's division in MMA. Because you got to remember what Joe Rogan is. He's a comedian and he's an MMA guy. And someone who, his opinion is that someone who transitions from a man to a woman should not be allowed to enter the MMA because this is basically just, in this particular case, he said it's basically just a man beating up on a woman. I don't see this as anti-trans. I don't see that at all. If he has said things that are anti-trans, well, then he needs to, educate himself a little bit better and understand that people have the right to do whatever they want to do. And I don't want to hear about, oh, public bathrooms though. Then hold it in and don't go to bathrooms because some people have to go to the bathroom. I don't know what to tell you, you know? And I don't think it matters which bathrooms we use. What are we going in there for except to use the bathroom? So watching Boy Meets World, the one episode where they're like, why do they have a couch in the women's bathroom? I'm like, no, literally, why do they have a couch in the women's bathroom? What are you going into the bathroom to do exactly? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yeah, Joe Rogan has said some controversial things, but you know where Hillary Clinton went on, and she said, I don't know if I'm ready to sponsor, if I'm ready to support Bernie if he wins the primary. So think about what we just said. What's the alternative? Supporting Trump. Think about that. The person who ran for president last the last election run just said, I don't know if I'm ready to support Bernie if he wins the primary. But the only other candidate to support would be Donald Trump, the incumbent. My God. Meanwhile, nobody's been asking Biden or Warren or Buttigieg or Klobuchar. Why is Klobuchar even still in this freaking thing? Nobody ever asked them, if this person wins, will you support this person and blah, 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 blah. Nobody's asking them that. Nobody's asking that, but everybody wants to keep on asking Bernie. Hey, Bernie, if Warren wins, will you support? Yes, I will. Like Hillary cheated to win the primary the last run around. And yet he still campaigned for her and they still find a way to complain about it. Are you people stupid? Like, what the hell's going on? But they always ask him, if you lose, are you going to support somebody else? Like everything they do against this guy is unpopular. And at the end of the day, look, Elizabeth Warren, she started off as being very progressive, which I love. That's my heart right there. But turning around and doing this, like there's social justice, and then there's the social justice warrior, super creepy cancel culture nonsense crap, and that's what she's falling into. That's what Elizabeth Warren has fallen into. You know what I'm saying? Bernie Sanders, the guy who is on record, like on videotape for years, encouraging women to run for president. The only reason why the only reason why he ran for president back in 2016, technically 2015, for the 2016 election is because when he talked to Elizabeth Warren and said, hey, I want you to run for president, she said no. That's why he said, crap, I don't know who else I would push. I don't know who else I would push for. So I guess I'll go. And that's on record. She said as much. Everybody said, this is known. This is not debatable, And yet she turns around and, mind you, the only thing that Elizabeth Warren is actually famous for and popular for is she used to go against the big banks and the big companies who have embezzled or have cheated. The big banks specifically. That's her big thing, out in Massachusetts. That's her big thing. And she went and she fought against the bankruptcy bill. The bankruptcy bill, mind you, that Joe Biden created. Joe Biden not only pushed Ronald Reagan, a Republican, a conservative, pushed Ronald Reagan to increase the war on drugs, which is basically a war on brown and black people. Let's be realistic. That's what it is. Stop and frisk, Mike Bloomberg, all that stuff. All of that comes from the Reagan era. And the person who pushed Reagan more than Reagan was willing to go in the first place was Joe Biden. He's on record, and nobody doctored these. They've been around forever. I've seen them for years. Before I even heard of a Bernie Sanders, Biden going around telling people, "Oh, turns out that Bernie Sanders documented or doctored something that I said." Bernie Sanders didn't doctor anything. This dude has been on record talking about cutting Medicare, cutting Medicaid, cutting Social Security, cutting veterans benefits. All right. So yeah, me being on the VA back when I was in the States, what I'm saying? That was the only medical coverage that I had for some when I lost, a pretty good job when I was out there. What do you call it? And I was transitioning for 9 months for a different, a better job that would actually give me benefits. I had to wait for benefits. The VA is all that I had. And he was talking about cutting that. Like, it's ridiculous. Hey, in America, all the Americans, do you know why when you claim bankruptcy, if your finances actually get so bad and you can't and you have to go and claim bankruptcy to get your bills washed? And I know it's an embarrassing thing, it's horrible. Our current sitting president has done it 6 times, mind you. So don't feel too embarrassed about it. But if you have to claim bankruptcy and you have a student loan, you can't claim bankruptcy on your student loan. Hey, do you know who did that? That's Joe Biden. That's the bankruptcy bill. So whenever you hear people talking about the bankruptcy bill, that was the main thing that screwed over all of us Gen Xers and therefore the millennials and the Gen Zs who came afterwards. But they screwed us Gen Xers over irrevocably. We are drowning in debt. I, I still owe money for student loans. What I'm saying? From 2011, I still owe money. Like, it's hard to pay these bills. Like, that's a lot of freaking money. Oh my God. And of course, Canada wound up adopting something very similar to that because, like, well, if the US is doing it, the saying, if America coughs, Canada catches the flu. Anyway, speaking of the flu, first incident of the coronavirus up around here. Anyway, so yeah, the bankruptcy bill, and Elizabeth Warren actually fought against tried to do some kind of leniency against the bankruptcy bill. And she didn't get very much, but she did get something. And she went after these big banksters who pushed that stuff. So check this out. While she's up on the debate stage, this is 2 debates ago, I believe. So not the most recent one where she started some crap with Bernie. No, 2 debates ago, she goes and says, and I push for this and I push for that. And freaking super angry Joe Biden, like, this dude's angry about everything. He's angry about everything. He turned around calling people Jack when they're mad at them. Yeah, well, let me tell you something, Jack. He goes in when Elizabeth Warren says, and I fought to get a bill passed that would help to relieve some of the debt that students are feeling, and try and make it go up against all these people that are doing these illegal attacks on students, over these big companies and the credit companies, and so they can't keep on going after. And Joe Biden jumps in. He says, and I helped to get votes for that bill. Did you see her face when she did that? So I want you to understand something. Joe Biden lied horrendously against Elizabeth Warren. Horribly lied against her. He not only did he not help to get votes for her to pass that bill, but the bill was made to try and alleviate some of the damage to students that Joe Biden caused by writing and wrecking students with that bankruptcy bill. Medicare for All, which just got an endorsement from the majority of physicians on the physician board. They said the only way to try and really help Americans in the world right now is through Medicare for All. And while Tulsi at first started talking about, she actually co-wrote the bill. Well, she co-sponsored, I should say. She didn't co-write. She co-sponsored the bill with Bernie Sanders, but she doesn't support it anymore. Elizabeth Warren said that she was for Medicare for All. She's not for it anymore. Andrew Yang, who I kind of wanted to like, but mind you, this is a guy who owned 3 businesses and wrecked them all. He's not nearly as bad as Trump, but he reminds me of Trump in the idea that you're a failed businessman 3 times over. I don't know how good your policies or economic policies are going to be, but hey, you keep on wearing that math button right there, bud. Because, yeah, we're doing the math on how horrible your freaking businesses have been. Anyway, that being said, I still like some of his ideas, but he lied multiple times about being for Medicare for All, because when he finally put forth his bill, that wasn't the case. He wasn't for Medicare for all. And on top of that, he goes and says, well, there is no bill actually called Medicare for all. But first off, they called him out on that. Either he was wrong or he was lying. There is no other way to look at that. Andrew Yang, good guy, I think, I hope, but he straight out either got it 100% wrong or lied. Because you know who wrote the Medicare for all bill? I'll give you a hint. It's the guy who always says, yeah, I wrote the damn bill. Bernie Sanders. He wrote the damn bill. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, yeah, freaking it's frightening, but the idea is that Joe Biden lied and said that he got votes. He got the votes for that bill that Elizabeth Warren wrote to pass. And she kept her mouth silent about that. She didn't say anything about that. Meanwhile, 2015, Bernie Sanders is pushing for her to run for president. She says no. Why did she say no? And why didn't she support Bernie Sanders? Why did she support why did she support Hillary Clinton instead? Because Hillary Clinton lied to Elizabeth Warren and said, oh, we're going to vet you to be vice president. It was a lie. It was a lie. They actually never even began the vetting process for her. She lied, and Elizabeth Warren fell for it. And unfortunately, she's still falling for it. She keeps on thinking, make concessions for all these people in Washington so we can get things together and whatnot, because she's making friends in Washington. That's cute and all. Meanwhile, they're saying, oh, what do you call it? Hillary Clinton goes and says, oh, well, Bernie doesn't have any friends. Nobody likes him in Washington. And suddenly his votes go up. And nobody in Washington can understand that. You want to know why? Because the thing that Donald Trump said that actually matters, he said, drain the swamp. Now, he never actually meant it. In fact, he's actually been trying to look into making more bribes legal, especially overseas, because places like China, where bribes are necessary to get business done, places like, Egypt, places like, all the Middle East, I'm saying, not all of Asia, but a lot of Asia, it's the culture there. It's not demeaning. It's just, that's the way things are done. It works the same exact way here in America with the trucking industry or the way that politicians work. He's trying to make it so that we are allowed to use bribes overseas with our trades and trades negotiations, because otherwise we just don't have that kind of competition. The problem is he's already taking bribes. It's one of the reasons why his daughter all of a sudden got all these, ways into, these licenses. I think she got how many licenses did she get? Like 10 or more licenses to start operating trade in China once Trump became president. Gee, I wonder if that's like a bribe. Is it any different than Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, when he was a senator and when he was the VP, when he was the vice president? Was it any different? There is corruption there. You know what I'm saying? There absolutely is corruption. Why aren't the Democrats pushing it more? Because all the Democrats do that kind of corruption. So do all the Republicans. They all engage in that. So they're only going for certain things to try and impeach Trump. That's why I don't think that Trump's going to be impeached, because in general, the people are looking at it as, well, there's only but so much that we can really do. And much like he's saying, hey, I want you to make, Burisma, I want you to make, got Uruguay in my head. I don't know why I got Uruguay in my head. Ukraine, I need you to make an announcement that you're going to investigate Joe Biden because he's my political rival. And hey, likewise, the Democrats, this whole impeachment thing is just to try and attack Trump and make him scared. It's like, oh, look, right before 7 months before the election, he's been impeached, and now we're trying to remove him from office. But here's a president, he's been impeached. Trump does deserve to be impeached, but for all the things that the Democrats and the Republicans both have already been doing since Reagan times, since the times of President Reagan. I mean, we're talking about 1980 and on. It's disgusting. What the heck are we honestly doing here? But the thing that bothers me is Elizabeth Warren never actually turned around and said anything, even afterwards, to Biden or to the constituents, and said, oh, Biden tried to take credit for the things that I did, even though he tried to fight against those things. Why didn't she do that? But she's willing to instead turn around and try and attack Bernie Sanders for something that she either misunderstood or she's flat out lying about. And would Elizabeth Warren lie? Yes. Elizabeth Warren has nothing but lying to us. And she says in such a nice way that we try and think that it's a good thing, but she's such a freaking liar. She lies about being Native American. Let me tell you something right now, okay? I'm 1/16th Native American. And I talk about my Native American ancestry, but I'm like, look, I'm an Italian with some Native American ancestry. You know what I'm saying? My roots are not very deep, blah, 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 whatever, right? But then you look at Elizabeth Warren. She's talking about, I'm Native American, I'm Native American, I'm Native American. She puts down Native American. What is it, Harvard Law School that she went to? Do you know the first person registered as a person of color who attended Harvard Law School? They put down Elizabeth Warren as the first person. Why? Because she put down on her heritage that she's Native American. She's 164th Native American. That means that not only did she never know anybody in her family who was Native American or who practiced the Native American heritage, and her brothers acknowledged this, her three Republican brothers acknowledged this, but that means that that means you take Elizabeth Warren, and when she was an infant, the oldest family member that would have held her in her arms would never have been young enough to know the person who was actually a Native American, like a full-blooded Native American in her family. Think about that. Think about that. That means a generation, the oldest generation member that she could have ever known would not have known the original, never, ever, or wouldn't have been held in the swaddled in the arms of the original Native American that they're talking about. The 100%, the one first. Like, and so she's lied about that. She lied. Maybe she was, what do you call breastfeeding when she was in law school. But the fact of the matter is, her father never worked as a janitor in there, and her brothers pushed and said, "No, our father has never worked as a freaking janitor before." She tried saying that stuff. It's like, dude, it's lies, it's lies, it's lies. Why are you lying about this? Why are you trying to make us believe this stuff that's not true? She lied about being fired for being pregnant while she was working this one place. She was never fired for that. She was never let go. There was never any. No, that didn't happen. Maybe it was just too hard for her and she left, and she turns around and she says, "Oh, I was fired because of such and such and such." I'm surprised she didn't say for discrimination, for crying out loud. She went and said that if there was a person who there was an African American person in her history, in her heritage, much like the Native American thing, would she put down that she was African American? She said yes. So lily white ass Elizabeth Warren would actually put down on a piece of paper, "I am Native American." She would put down that she's black. This is the fakest freaking person that I have seen in such a ridiculously long time. And I don't know if she actually believes her lies, but honestly, I feel like she's more delusional than anything else. And she's willing to turn around. So either she's got a terrible memory, or she's really delusional, or she's just loco en la cabeza, or she's just a flat out liar. But she turns around and she attacks Bernie Sanders, the one person who you can't find anything in history saying these things. They're all opinion fluff pieces. It's like, at the end of the day, this is just ridiculous. And the whole idea of Hillary Clinton attacking and all these people attacking and saying, like, Hillary Clinton, while she was on the Howard Stern show, says, "I can't, believe that Bernie's such a bad person, blah, 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 blah." You go and you attack Bernie Sanders for getting endorsed by Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan has not said, I'm gonna use the Elizabeth Warren example. He hasn't said 1/64th of the bad things that Howard Stern has said throughout his career. And nobody goes and says, Hillary Clinton going on the Howard Stern show, or God forbid, Hillary Clinton to this very day working with Henry Kissinger, probably the only person on the face of the planet who can claim to be a bigger war criminal than she is. But nobody turns around and says these things about her. Instead, they say, "I can't believe that Bernie Sanders accepted the what do you call it, the endorsement of Joe Rogan when he said some things that are questionable about trans people." Hillary Clinton was just on Howard Stern. I'm sorry, the hypocrisy is astronomical. It's astronomical. Like, I cannot believe the time period that we are in, where it's not just smear campaigns, because at least smear campaigns back then, you'd find like Hart. What was his original name? I remember this back in '80s. They went after Gary Hart. Gary Hart and Jesse Jackson and all these people were running to go against Ronald Reagan, back in the day. And they were all vying, and they were just like, "Oh, Hart cheated on his wife. Jesse Jackson cheated on his wife. Oh, like all these different people turning around and attacking each other, but they were finding dirt on each other. And the trick is, you can't seem to find any dirt on Bernie Sanders. That's one of the things that Joe Rogan says. And what now? Like, it's 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 crazy to me. It's crazy to me what exactly is going on right now. So yeah, this is a very interesting time in politics where they're smearing somebody who just 40 years of being on camera and saying the same thing, and they're all positive things. Meanwhile, you got people like freaking Joe Biden, who's been talking about cutting welfare, Social Security, veterans benefits, Medicaid, Medicare, and he's turning around and saying, "No, I've never said things like that. That's ridiculous." I'm shocked. I'm shocked. All right. Like, this is me, and this is me also, because I'm beside myself. Oi. What are we looking here? She's Indian. Get over it. No, she's not from India, and she's not Native American. She's 164th. And if you just simply said that, that'd be cool. But no, no, I'm afraid she's not. She actually wrote down that she is Native American, that she's the first woman of color to have gone. And Harvard, look at the records, and then look at her lily white face, and you tell me that she's the first woman of color. Meanwhile, her brothers regularly talk against her. I'm sorry, when your family members talk against you, that's when you need to start asking yourself, am I being genuine? Like, at some point you got to come out and just be like, okay, I'm not being genuine right now. Like, come on, man. That's just painful. Painful. Um Donnie Cates as the Secretary of State. John Cena as something. Kurt Angle. What is the? I really don't want more celebrities getting in. I really don't. There will be no Snyder Cut in April. I don't know how he's going to be able to do this. I want you to think about this with the Snyder Cut. Excuse me. Let me just look at this really quick. I can't believe Bernie accepted Joe Rogan's endorsement. Are you kidding me? So, Peanut, maybe you just showed up. Literally, I just disputed everything that you said. Every single thing that you just said. I well, I sing and do other things. Yes. People still confuse Native American with Indian. Yes, that's the strangest freaking thing in the world. People are still coming up with the dumbest crap to go after the Joker with. Some people are going after Phoenix for being dangerous method actor. Here's the thing. I watched the Joker again for the second time recently, and I can't necessarily argue with some of the criticism because at the end, think about it. This is the stuff like when you think about like all these different people, all right, from Dylan Ruth up to you name it. These people who do these horrible, terrible things, they write a manifesto because they want to be deified in some way, shape, or form. Even amongst a small cult following, they want their death to actually mean something. And that's something that was actually said in there. I hope my death makes more sense than my life. And it's funny, sense was written like he missed the S. He replaced the C with an S. So, well, he just misspelled the whole thing. Anyway, but cents like coins. I wonder if that was supposed to be an analogy or maybe a metaphor for something. You know what I'm saying? Like the idea of like at least it'll make me some kind of money. Like talking about the topic of social class war. There's a possibility. I don't know. I don't know. I'd actually have to talk to the guys who made the movie for that. But I can genuinely say that at the end, where he is deified, he's like the people they pick him up, and maybe it's just his dream because he's always having these weird dreams. He had the dream where he was on Murray's show. He had the dream where he was with Zazie Beetz. You know, what I'm saying he was delusional, right? So I wonder, was the stuff at the end was that also a little bit, like his delusion? But it was a city burning and people in riot, and they were deifying this guy who should have been vilified. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand some of the things he did, but like they're idolizing him, and then what happens? So like the director was very smart in not telling us exactly what's going on. People on this side will say, "Oh, see, bad." People on this side will see, "No, see that side, bad." Right? It's always going to help out. I even got caught up in it because like, oh look, they're talking about the social economic status and blah 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 blah. But there are also some things in there to refute that. And I didn't realize it the first time I was watching this because I was full of emotion watching it, and I did a reaction to the whole thing. But then watching it a second time, I'm like, wow, there are actually some things in there that point out that Yeah, like this is the crazy stuff in here. And mind you, like me, my wife is really big again when people say, oh, riots are, people are always, attacking the idea of riots. Riots aren't just people destroying their city. And I understand this. Riots are actually the only way that people know to lash out and say, look at pay attention. Like, what do you do when, when you're really and you don't know what else to do? You bang on a drum, basically. You're shouting, you're trying to get people to pay attention. And sometimes setting the freaking neighborhood on fire is the way to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's horrible. But it is what it is. Like, think about it, you know? And if we didn't have such a militarized police force, that probably wouldn't be so vilified, you know? Um, you watched Stone Cold Sun Trump on Raw for like an hour. That wasn't actually Trump that got stunned. It was a stunt double. Sorry. Somebody mentioned something up here. The Snyder Cut being released in April. Here's the thing with the Snyder Cut. If let's look at this. Zack Snyder doesn't own that particular information. He talked about putting out a soundtrack. Well, that's cute. Anybody can make a little playlist on Spotify. You know what I'm saying? But does he have the rights to these songs? No, he doesn't. Warner Brothers does. You know what I'm saying? Like Warner Brothers owns the rights to all of this stuff. Now, is it going to make him enough money? Like I get the whole Snyder Cut thing, but how many people are actually going to purchase the DVD? How many people would actually go to see this release? Because mind you, whatever bubble that we're all living in, and we all, myself included, we all live in a bubble, especially like with social media or with friends or just what we're browsing on the internet. You know, saying like all of our searches are guided by some kind of an algorithm based on the things that we've been looking at and keywords that match what we're looking for. And viewing and liking or disliking, you know what I'm saying? So we're all in some kind of an algorithm. Seriously, stop, take a step back, and ask yourself, how many people are really going to go crazy over a freaking Snyder Cut? Oh, it was trending number one on, well, it was trending like number 5, I think, at one point on Twitter for a couple of minutes 2 weeks ago. That's great. Actually, look at all the comments. How many of them were positive towards the Snyder Cut? Not all of them. I'd say maybe 60%, maybe. The interest, like Warner Brothers, I can't imagine Warner Brothers actually taking a vested interest in this. And as far as putting it out, if it's not going to make them a $500 million or more, because it would have to make them that to even show a slightest bit of a profit, it would be like saying that they were wrong for taking Zack Snyder off of the film. Because mind you, Zack Snyder didn't leave voluntarily. That's what he said to maintain that corporate air because you can't disrespect your bosses because when you do, that's when you suddenly get in trouble, right? But he was asked to step down. He was told, dude, step down. Okay. I don't care what you say, but step down. He used the excuse of, oh, yeah, my daughter who committed suicide 4 months ago. I'm going to go and spend some time with my family right now. No, he said he was going to work through it to try and clear his head. And he was doing a good job of it. The problem is that there was so much negativity over a lot more negativity than positivity, and the idea that it just didn't make the money that they wanted it to make, not even close to the money that they wanted to make. Horrible reviews, everything Snyder was putting his hands on in the WB DC universe, the DCEU. Look, this is not a criticism of Snyder. And if anybody who is a patron of mine, you've seen that I've just been reviewing every single thing that he put out. I've been saying, yeah, I completely changed my opinion on a lot of this stuff, man, because holy crap, Snyder had an amazing vision on this, and he does. I would love to see what he would finish out, like where he would go with all this stuff. But he himself was the one who was saying, no, I'm going to use, like think about the very end of all this crazy stuff. He's the one who said, I'm going to use Steppenwolf. I'm not going to use Darkseid. I'm going to save Darkseid for the next Justice League movie or so. You know what I'm saying? He's going to save Darkseid. He's not going to just throw him out there in the beginning because it would be too much. Then what do you do after that? He had a plan for multiple movies. And yes, he was working on the fly a lot, but he wasn't just going to throw the big dog out. Because then what do you do after Darkseid? Honestly, stop for yourself and think for a moment. What do you do after Darkseid? Anti-Monitor? So now you're talking about, because every time Anti-Monitor gets involved, you're talking about rebooting the entire universe. Was that the plan? So the Justice League Part 2, reboot the entire universe, not the trilogy that everybody in cinema history or novels or whatever, every form of media out there, they do some kind of a trilogy. No, they weren't going to do. No, of course they were going to do that. You know what I'm saying? But it would be admitting that they were wrong if they did make a Snyder cut. And Warner Brothers, like, they're just not going to do that. You know, one of the main executive producers for, and I talked about this in my Patreon videos, where I reviewed those movies. I actually sat and watched the entire movie with you guys so that you can see, and then I give my opinions throughout. So it's basically commentary. What do you call it? They're really long videos. Anyway, um, uh, one of the people who's the executive producer for all of those films, Steve Mnuchin. You might note that as one of the key figures in the White House who goes at, he's the one with the hot wife who's always buying things and all haughty and whatnot. And Steve Mnuchin's the, yes. Well, basically, we're just trying to make money off of all of you. Like that's the guy. That's the guy. Go look up Steve Mnuchin. He's working for the Trump White House right now. He's a horrible, wretched human being, hanging out with Mike Pompeo all the time. He's a terrible freaking human being. He doesn't. He's not going to allow a movie to come out where people say, "Yeah, those executive producers like Steve Mnuchin were all wrong when they kicked Snyder off the film." They're not going to allow for that. It's simply not going to unless it's going to make them tons of money, and it's not going to make them the tons of money that's going to, like, think about this. Pride of a super wealthy elitist elite on top of that, and money. How much money is going to surpass that pride? How much money will it take? A hell of a lot more than a Snyder cut will ever make. It's not going to happen. It I'm kind of okay with Snyder, talking against these executives, these executive producers, because he's right. He's right. But I think that it's wrong for him to keep getting people's hopes up, because I genuinely do not believe that it's going to happen. I don't believe there's going to be nearly enough people to get together and say, hey. So, let's see. What's going on here? Should have used Starro. Starro would actually be a good idea. That would have been great. Let's see. Jamal Lewis. Okay, this is actually a really good question. This is in my Captain Marvel comic book reviews. Professor, why do you believe Carol Danvers should have went after Black Panther first in the latest Captain Marvel issue? Is he really that dangerous? Is he Marvel's Batman? I really explained it in there, but for the sake of anybody else who didn't see that review, yes, he really genuinely is that dangerous, especially under Christopher Priest, as I talked about in that review. When Christopher Priest wrote for the Black Panther, holy crap. They were going through Black Panther's desk when he wasn't around, and they saw that he had certain contingency plans for if something went wrong. Like if the Fantastic Four failed to finish off the Galactus situation, how would he fix it? They finally showed that that contingency plan in the Al Ewing Ultimates comic book, where they turned him into the Lifebringer. Think about that. Black Panther took a cosmic entity, Galactus, the scourge of the universe. One of the main reasons why the Skrulls, especially, and all these crazy creatures out in the, these different species and subspecies out in the universe, the Marvel multiverse, hate Earth, like hate Earth, and want to see it wiped off the map. The reason why all these different planets, Interplanetary Federation of people trying to come after us and whatnot, Spartak saying, whoa, hold on now, we're going to try and go after these guys anyway, because hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got all these planets, these people who hate us. The reason why the Skrull secret invasion happened in the first place, because Reed Richards allowed Galactus to live when they could have killed him right then and there on the spot. There are other reasons too, but That's the main reason. And who was able to not like Reed Richards was, was able to get him to the point where it's like, okay, well, don't eat our planet. Maybe go eat the Skrull homeworld or something like that. He didn't make that suggestion, but anyway. So he turns around and the Black Panther, and he says, I'm going to make him into the life bringer. I'm going to make him not only stop eating planets, but actually give birth to the planets that he'd eaten so that more planets have a chance now to survive and see what they could have been. Yes, he's really that dangerous. In the third issue of Christopher Priest's run, Black Panther, along with his crew in the Black Panther comic book in Wakanda, defeated Mephisto. I'm just saying. Yeah, he's really that big of a deal. He really is that dangerous. But the thing is, it's not about him being dangerous to Carol. It's not about him being dangerous to Carol, because maybe he could find a way to defeat Carol, maybe. But the trick is that he'd definitely be able to figure out a way to stop the Vox Supreme. He and Captain America together would be able to figure out a way to stop the Vox Supreme. But that's just simply not the way that you're really supposed to write a good story. A good story involves all sorts of, things. We always know, well, if, I'm watching this TV series, oh, if he would have just said this, then all of a sudden everything would have been fixed. Yeah, and then you have a 2-minute television show, not a half of an hour television show. So that's what drama is, right? So anyway, yes, Black Panther is not only that dangerous, but yeah. And the Batman in the Marvel Universe, yes, he genuinely is. More than anybody else, more than Tony Stark. Like Tony Stark is Bruce Wayne in the Marvel Universe, but Black Panther is Batman in the Marvel Universe. That's a huge deal. But the trick is he's got more resources. He's got more money. He's got more people, better educated people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can count the number of people Batman has in his retinue on 2 hands if you're including the Bat family. T'Challa, he's got an entire nation, like the one of the most, if not the most powerful nation in the world. And it's not just Priest who's awesome at this stuff. Reggie Hudlin, when he was doing this stuff, America was trying to make deals with Wakanda, and Wakanda was like, "Yeah, I'm not interested in making deals with you guys." And they're like, "Why not?" They said, "You act like you've got the best interest of your people in mind, but you don't. Any country that would allow cigarettes in their country simply does not have the best interest of their people in their heart. Let's face it, it's about profit for you." And I know there's some people who smoke, and honestly, I hope that you can get over smoking. I genuinely do, because there is literally not one single positive benefit to smoking, not one. You know what I'm saying? And when Hudlin included that in the comic book, I'm just like, wow, wow, that's a fantastic freaking point. Like, Black Panther is just, he's uncompromising for the most part. He's uncompromising. He knows what's right and he stands by it, and he's going to make it happen. And he's got multiple ways to defeat you, not just add something new to his garage or his Batman utility belt and go and start punching people in the face. No, he's got so many different ways to take down threats, and it feels real, whether he's going to be doing it to the big bads or the common people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's fantastic, and I love the way that he pulls it off. All right, what else do we have here? Um, Professor, why do you boycott Bendis? Did he do something crazy, stupid crap that I did not know about? In the most recent Superman book that I reviewed, which I think it was issue number 16, whatever it was, I explained that in excruciating detail, like a half an hour long comment about it. So yeah, I'm just not digging it. Hail Satan, first time seeing you live. Well, hey there, Multiversity 777. That's interesting, the 777. I actually studied, I actually belonged to the OTO for a while. So that, that right there, that's actually a very interesting second part to your name. Hail Satan. However, if you actually read the Satanic Bible, there's no way possible to freaking worship Satan. He wouldn't accept it. Good content. Time to hit the like button. Ed Brewer. Not all superheroes wear capes. Maybe they just have 4 faces on there. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. But yes, and maybe he is wearing a cape. I don't know. Yes, Sue Ann McGinnis points out. She-Hulk smash that little be like Ed. Christina, thank you. Bake the Snake, what's up? I just got it. Like Jake the Snake. Nice one. I was just watching my wife is watching Boy Meets World without me right now. And not cool, not cool. But yeah, we sit in there, we watch that's our chill time together. We just sit down and we watch Boy Meets World. Best show ever made, you know? And Big Van Vader is on there. Vader time. Anyway, he's on there, and he just had a match recently. Bruce Pritchard was on there as oh yeah, no, sorry, that's the wrong one. I love you, brother love. My wife never watched WWE during that time. She's like, oh my god, why is that man's face so red? I'm like, babe, it's just makeup. Come on, all right. Anyhow, um, like he's got that many burst capillaries in his face. But yeah, it's Bruce Pritchard, the best wrestling podcast out there right now, besides Solid Monster Sounds Off. What's up, bud? So anyway, um, and he was just fighting Jake the Snake in the one episode. It was Topanga's 16th birthday party. Topanga is actually a couple months older than Corey, if that's the case, because he celebrated his birthday a couple episodes after that. Interesting. Corey getting with the older ladies. Something new is Rock Iron Fit Vibranium versus Prometheus. um, you know what? They still haven't explored all the things that Prometheum can do, and I actually like the idea of Prometheum, but I'm so annoyed by the million different metals in there. Amazomian and freaking what else do you have? You have nth metal and Batmandium. Once I got to Batmandium, I was like, I can never take the Mar or the DC metals seriously again. Like even to me, honestly, like Prometheum, go away. I'm good with nth metal. Everything else just needs to go away at this point because it's so freaking ridiculous. They made Batmandium. My God, Scott Snyder. Like that is the ultimate DC Comics jumping of the shark moment in the history of the world. I should make a video on that, just cracking jokes on it because, like, holy crap, that is literally jumping the shark. Bat freaking Mandium. My God, man. Anyway, Vibranium versus Prometheum. I almost want to say Vibranium, but especially after that rant I just said, absolutely Vibranium. Howard the Duck animated series and one other were canceled. Could Kevin Feige be going mad with power? Probably not. Probably not. Crom is greater than Satan. Professor, I'm moving to New Jersey. Wow, Lewis Versatility is moving to New Jersey. Which part, brother? I'll give you some tips and pointers. I gave tips and pointers to oh my god, I know her name. She's an editor for Valiant and Image Comics. She accidentally, not through any fault of her own, gave birth to the Comicsgate rise to power for that short amount of time that they were actually relevant, if ever. Crap, what is her name? Milkshake Girl. Oh my God. Oh, for crying out loud. I feel like such a butt face right now. I can't remember her name. But anyway, she moved to New Jersey with her husband. And I think it's husband, not boyfriend. Anyway, yeah, husband. So boom. and she moved to a part I'm not going to tell you which part she moved to, but she told me which part she moved to. I'm like, oh wow, so you're in like the super rich area. Oh damn. And just like talking to her and whatnot. It's like, listen, when you go down the shore and just make sure, when you go to Central Jersey, don't actually talk about Central Jersey outside of North or South Jersey because they ain't going to have it. But those of us who are on the East Coast, the shore babies, yeah, absolutely 100% Central Jersey. It's a real thing. And just, all these things, it's just, really funny. Anyway. Yes, Batmantium. It's a real thing. Ghost Rider over Silver Surfer, I would have to say. I know that Silver Surfer is going to be all sorts of pissed off that I said that, but when you're talking about sheer potential, Ghost Rider. I honestly think that Ghost Rider would wind up winning because at the end of the day, like as far as like actual power from the onset, Silver Surfer, you're not going to beat the power cosmic, but once they get in close, and they will get in close, once he throws that pen and stare at Silver Surfer, who nobody in the Marvel universe or even the DC universe is more like filled with regret for their history than the Silver Surfer. Once that pen and stare comes into place, it's over. That fight is done. You know what I'm saying? I like, wow. Wow. Um, let's see what else we got here. Topanga and Kelly Kapowski hubba. um, Surfer just unsubscribed. Yeah, right. Twin Peaks is awesome, but nuts. I've never watched Twin Peaks. I actually used to think by the name of it, I used to think it was some kind of a romance, a rom-com kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden I find out about 2 months ago, no, it's actually like unsolved mysteries or something like that. I'm like, really? Wow. Okay, interesting name, Twin Peaks. Professor Comics Universal says top 5 mutants. Mine number 1, Betsy Braddock. Number 2, Richter. Number 3, Gambit. After my top 3, do you see why Excalibur is my favorite? Dawn of X book, then Logan, and then Sunspot. Excuse me. Why? Yes, I can see why it's your favorite book. Wow. Okay, so Comic Universal, real talk. Do you think that it's being written in a positive way? Do you think that the characters are being represented well? Specifically, your favorite character, Betsy Braddock, because I feel that she was being written as a person full of bravado and not taking responsibility for the fact that she doesn't have it all together, that she's trying to take a leadership position and she shouldn't be taking a leadership position, and that she's really just a whiny little kid, basically. Like that's the way that I see her being written. Oops, just realized I wasn't live. You weren't live? Oh, sorry. Justice versus Cat Lady. I don't know. I don't know who Cat Lady is. Is that the girl from what's her name? The the Kevin McAllister. What was that? Home Alone. Is that the? Oh no, that's the Bird Lady from Home Alone 2. Yeah, I don't know who the Cat Lady is. Oh, you had to refresh. Oh, okay. Sorry. Silver Surfer has already faced his own penance in number 48. Wrong. Which volume? Is that volume 3, I guess, right? What's, let's see. Let's take a look at this here. Let me see which issue that was. Silver Surfer number 48. Nope, sorry, wrong answer. I know the issue that you're talking about now that I see the cover. That's one of the reasons why I usually don't prefer variant covers if I can avoid them. I'll recognize the cover by its actual main cover, which is supposed to represent something that happened in the comic book. The variant covers are usually just whatever. I drew a really crazy, awesome picture. You like it? That's People ask me, why don't you like? Anyway, I saw that cover and right away, boom. But if I just saw Silver Surfer on the front going, yeah, the beach is that way, I'd be like, dude, what the hell happened in this comic book, right? That's why I always prefer the main cover A's, so to speak. Anyway, no, that's not the same as the pen and stare. It was an entirely different thing. The pen and stare is you are forced to deal with everything and all at once. Not you've got time to go through it. And you know what? You know the answer to that. You know what I'm talking about, Silva. We'll talk about it in private if you want. But wrong. You're wrong. Favorite Defenders character? Depends. The first team or the current team, basically. Other than that, Doctor Strange has always had great potential, but honestly, like Namor for me, man, he is such a complicated character. I identify with Namor a lot because I get anxiety. I know it sounds weird, right? I go and I talk to people all the time, live, whatever. Who cares, right? But no, I actually do suffer through some anxiety. What do you call it? Just it is what it is. So if there's like confrontation or something like that, I will actually usually get a little more angry than the situation will necessarily call for it. I kind of overcompensate anger a bit. I utilize my rather large size, and yeah, just because like yeah, if someone makes me angry, if somebody does something where I feel threatened or something like that, I actually get very, very angry to the point where it looks like there's hostility, and I try to make people pee their pants. So therefore, while it's not crazy childish like the Hulk will do. Namor, it's that sort of righteous anger. You know what I'm saying? It's like if somebody's sitting there and they're just, talking about build that wall, baby, build that wall. If they're just being silly, whatever, okay. But then if you start coming up to me and giving me a bunch of nonsense about, no, man, like Mexicans are rapists and murderers and blah blah. It's like, you just classified an entire people, and you're white, mind you, and there is no like I don't want to classify an entire people, but if we ever had to classify any one group of people ever, you could easily classify white people as the most devastatingly dangerous, violent, rapist, colonizing, imperialistic, destructive force that has ever faced the planet. In fact, let's be realistic. Maybe some of the other nations would have done far worse if we weren't in charge and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, we'll never know because we always have been. And it's frightening how ridiculously corrupt and just, oh my God, like words that I haven't used yet, just like enslaving nations and treating them violently. So you know what I'm saying? So like if someone says something like that to me, I'm just like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like you're white and you're saying that Mexicans in general are rapists and murderers. Like I'm gonna, try and have a conversation with you. And if you're just belligerent, yeah, I'm probably going to start raising my voice at you. And if anybody ever tries to like tries to intimidate me or something like that, bro, wow, yeah, I'm probably going to shove you off, and God forbid you try to come back at me again. Like, so like I understand that sort of righteous indignation that Namor feels. You know what I'm saying? I feel that sometimes, and it's easy for me to identify with a character like that. Um, Plus, in my head, I'm still a little kid. I was a kid who was bullied. I was just talking to my 6-year-old not too long ago because he's dealing with bullies right now. Much like me, when the first time I ever got punched in my eye was by a fourth grader when I was in the first grade. You know what I'm saying? He thought that I was a kid who got left back multiple years because I was as tall or taller, if I remember correctly, as this fourth grader. I was always tall. I was always a tall guy, a tall kid. So he thought I just got left back a whole bunch of times. So he, decided that was a good reason to punch somebody in the eye. Mind you, he's in the fourth grade. He's 9 years old. And he punched a 6-year-old kid in the eye. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like I was in first grade, he punched me in my eye. I'd never felt that before. I didn't understand this experience I was feeling. I was completely freaking freaked out. You know what I'm saying? I had no idea what to do. And ever since then, I've always had this big thing against bullies. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you're a bully, yep, I'm going to overreact all over your monkey ass. I'm gonna beat the living crap out of you. You know what I'm saying? And that was just me all throughout my school years. Like that includes high school. Yes. I had a hard time growing out of that. And I still feel that sort of anxiety, you know what I'm saying? That some bigger kid than me is gonna, it's like you come up and you threaten me, dude. I've got that in my genes at this point. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I can very easily identify with Namor. Let's see. The Herald is never wrong, except for when you're wrong. Oh, hey, comics expertise. Thank you for the $2. Any progress on Cyclops video and collaborators? No, unfortunately not. I need volunteers. And you know what? Maybe this is a good forum to do it, because you guys actually communicate with me all the time. You know what? Let's get some let's get an actual, you know what? This comic book character figure is more Native American than Elizabeth Warren, if you think about it. So I'm going, and if somebody doesn't like that, sorry, you don't like my jokes. Bye. You're probably going to leave in indignation. But yeah, yeah, hoo hee ha, ha hee ya. Thank you for the donation, Puma. So, what do you call it? What do you call it? Let's see. Let's put this back over here. Um, so no, unfortunately, not nearly enough because I actually want people who can really put something like that together. I want people who can actually, like, I want to hold this like a courtroom. You know what I'm saying? I want to have my image up top and then the prosecutor and the defense over here. So someone who's going to defend Cyclops and someone who's going to try and prosecute Cyclops. And I want it to be good. I want people to actually bring the fire. I want people to bring that heat. You know what I'm saying? Like whoever's going up against Cyclops, I want them to be able to come with the receipts. I want them to send me every single image that they've got and mark them so that when they say, I would like, Professor Bill, I would like to, Judge Bill, I would like you to bring in the evidence, or I would like you to present evidence that I've marked 1A, saying, but like, oh, okay. And then I show that picture online so that people can see it. And then you defend, that Cyclops did such and such because he's a great guy and he's a great leader and he cares about mutants. He actually cares about blah, blah, like you make your freaking points, baby. And then the prosecutor also and come up and just be like, yo, check this out. Cyclops is a terrible human being. He's the worst, you know what I'm saying? And just, Cyclops was not right and that's what I wanted to. I want the whole thing to be about, was Cyclops right? This is, if anybody's not familiar with this is stuff that I do on what do you call it? The Facebook group. So I think I've got I should have a link for the Facebook group below. But otherwise, just go on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, go on Facebook and check out Comic Book University. You'll see a Comic Book University group. You'll see a Comic Book University page. The page is where I make announcements. The group is where I just screw around. I throw up a bunch of silly little things or react to you guys. I actually do interact with you guys. I know there are a lot of fan pages out there. This is technically a fan page, but unlike all those other fan pages out there, I actually interact with you guys there. And every so often I'll throw up a video on there that I don't put on the regular group or the regular YouTube, where I'll respond to something, and there's that. Anyhow, so Scott Summers was right. Cool. If you've got all the muties are scum, don't trust them. Silva freaking Surfer, man. Wow. Anyway, if you guys can, if we can get some people together who, they think that they can defend and go against with receipts, the idea, the topic of, was Cyclops right? And that's the whole thing. I would love to host a video. You guys will get to be on Comic Book University. You got to be willing to show your face. All right. Got to be willing to show your face. And you got to have a decent microphone and whatnot. So there's that. Anyway, yes, I would love to do that. I would love to have that. And I would probably, be on the side of, I would definitely be on the side of Cyclops, but I will have to put on my barrister's wig and the judge's gown and have my little, Mjolnir over here will be my gavel. So I'm like, boom, court is in session. Just be an impartial judge. And then just let the people decide once those facts are out there. I would love to do that. So whoever thinks that they could I've got people who can defend Cyclops. I need somebody who's going to get not violent, but violently, vehemently oppose the idea that Cyclops was right. If you can tell me that Cyclops was wrong and bring the receipts, bruh, let's talk. Let's talk. I will definitely have you on. Beast versus Sabretooth. Dude. Beast ain't winning. Beast is the type of guy that the only way he's going to win against somebody the level of Sabretooth is if he's got prep time. You know what I'm saying? He ain't winning otherwise. Why Sabretooth? Oh, because they both got claws and teeth. Damn right, Cyclops was right. Scott ran out on Maddie when she was pregnant and not evil yet. Bruh, let's do it. Let's do it. He would eat. Yeah. Beast would be dinner. He like Sabretooth would have hairballs. That's all I'm saying. Silva, if you think that you could fight that, let's do it, dude. Tank Nelson. I love that name. Stupid Black King killing Kitty Pryde pissed me off. I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. Oh, also the super chat should have been put on while I was doing the dance. Sorry. So here, this is the best I could do. So anyway, yeah, guys, this is actually something that I really do want to do. So if there's somebody out there if you know somebody who's willing to get on camera with me and actually argue a point, hey man, and we're not going to be introducing new evidence, so we can do this privately. You know what I'm saying? We can do this in a recorded video excuse me, like a recorded video, and then I'll edit it out, like, so in case there's any silly parts, like, oh, somebody just called me, I've got to go away from the camera for a minute. We don't have to do it live. We can do it recorded, and then I'll just edit it up, and then I'll put it out. I would love to find somebody who can bring some serious receipts. You know what I'm saying? Go online, find the comic books. If you got the comic book, scan the comic book, take a picture of the comic book and send the picture in. But mark all of these. Write down what you're marking these so that, when you say, okay, I'd like to bring in evidence, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got that file right here. Boom, screen share so we can all see the image that you're talking about. And then bang, we can talk about that, and you could bring that into evidence and say, this is why Cyclops was right. And somebody else can say, this is why Cyclops was wrong. That's what I want. So, Cyclops was right. Is it true? Was Cyclops right? I want to actually have that debate. I want to have a genuine debate. And this is friendly, you know what I'm saying? So while you can certainly bring the fire, no insults, nobody should be doing anything or saying anything that's going to, stick on somebody. I don't want to see all that. We're all friends here. Professor, here's a debate topic. Should Wonder Woman give up on Barbara Ann? That could work. Hey, dude, if I can get some people to put these things, to actually do these, and if I can put some people together, I would love to make this a monthly series, you know what I'm saying? And actually just do something like that. I would love to do something like that and just preside over it, Hey, Comic Universal, can you do one of these topics? Can you actually be on one side or the other with one of these topics? Because if so, let's do it. Absolutely. Mutants are never in the wrong. Humans force their hand. Can't argue. Like, that's one of the things that's always so funny. American media is very pervasive. Okay, that's not a negative thing. It's not meant as a negative comment. It's very pervasive. There is no other culture that is as prominent as American culture. Every single country I've ever gone to has at least one television station that has American programming in English, like no subtitles or anything. And it's like, dude, they don't speak that language here. In general, they don't speak that language here. But that's one of the ways that people learn English, because people want to learn English. And I hate to say this, people don't want to learn it with a British accent. You know what I'm saying? I teach English for a living. If you've got a Cockney accent, or any of the majorly British accents, they don't want you. They want that neutral accent. They want that accent from, like, New Jersey, They don't want a Brooklyn accent, which is what people think the Jersey accent is. They don't want a freaking, God forbid, a Bensonhurst, like a Harley Quinn accent. They don't want that accent. They want an actual neutral accent. If you're from the Deep South and you talk with a drawl, I think that's an awesome accent. I don't have any problem with that. Unfortunately, nobody wants to hire you to teach kids in China or Japan or Saudi Arabia with a Southern drawl. Like, it's not the way it is. And people sure as heck don't want that California. Oh God, like, like if you say like too often, they'll end the interview. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to let this go, It's like, yeah, Beverly Hills 90210, not here, my peeps. So, yeah, it's very influential, and sometimes you will see Star Wars or one of those kinds of, one of the Star Wars movies will play. And you know what they always say in that country? They say, I wonder if Americans realize, I'm not joking when I say this, because I've had conversations with my students when I've been in the Middle East. And they said, do Americans realize that they're the empire in this particular scenario? It's a fair observation. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, who forced Apocalypse? The old one before he was ruined recently. Oh, I said it. I don't know what you're even talking about, dude. Oy, I don't know what you're talking about. Mutants for life. Cyclops was right. Probably depends on time, but most likely. Sweet. Yes, Lockheed drowning. Yeah. Well, we'll see how that works. We'll see how all of that works. Can they bring Lockheed back? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, like the whole thing. It's like, it's funny. In a world where death shouldn't matter, they seem to be doing an awful lot of deaths, and they still seem to be mattering, right? I'm curious, man. Like, is somebody going to be able to rescue her in time? I'm hoping so. Somebody just went and pointed out Yellow Jacket went inside of um, uh, Pyro. Just went into the new version of Pyro. Well, if he's inside there, like in his bloodstream, and Pyro goes through one of the Krakoan gates, Yellow Jacket should wind up being what? Removed or ripped through Pyro or incinerated? Maybe. It depends on what everybody's going to look at. Because maybe you can also ask this question. All the like the hundreds of thousands of different bacteria and protozoa that are living inside of us right now, the viruses inside of us, while they can mutate, are they actually mutants? Because if not, shouldn't we just disintegrate as a whole if one of the mutants walks through the Krakoan gate? If there are life forms inside of them that aren't actually mutant, you know what I'm saying? Like it depends. Like how do you define it? It depends on who's writing it. I'm just teasing the mutie lovers. I know you are. My brother does not like thick accents. Alfred and Constantine are part of the reason he couldn't get into Gotham and Legends of Tomorrow. That's funny. What branch were you in? I was Army. So, boom. Did I just get to the bottom of the comments? John Ray. Damn you. Bill, the underlying theme of the Joker film was how poorly those with mental health problems are treated. That's one underlying thing there. That is one of them, but there's multiple underlying. There's no one underlying thing in there. Like if you step back and look at objectively, it's also about look at the way that the rich treat the poor. It was also a commentary on economic status. You think about it. What was one of the things that they talked about in there that a lot of people weren't paying attention to? The garbage strike, the garbage union strike, right? There were the sanitation workers that were, supposed to be taking out garbage and other, aspects of the job, and they went on strike. So what happened to all the garbage? Well, the rich hired private garbage men to bring the garbage into the lower class regions of Gotham. That's one of the things that Phillips had pointed out, the director had pointed out. There's almost no scenes where there's not garbage in the background. So, what does that have to do with mental health, right? That has to do with economic status and the idea that even if there's a strike, only poor people are going to be stricken by it. The rich people, they're going to find a way. There's forest fires all throughout California all the time now. California, there's huge segments that are on fire. Are the rich people affected? Not really. They've got their own private fire department. Do we? No, it's the public fire department. And they're trying to cut funds to all of those. It's ridiculous. It's a commentary on social economic status. It's also a commentary on crying out loud. I got so caught up on that one. Economic status, what do you call it? The mental health situation, perceived violence. You know, what I'm saying it's not just the idea of the way that mentally challenged people or mental illness people deal with this, but like the perceptions that people have. Again, the status quo. If you're a poor person beating up on or killing some rich people, oh no, these were young white boys who were treated poorly. So they were beaten up on, they were killed. But they had potential. Look, they were working for Mr. Wayne Enterprises. Anybody who's in Wayne Enterprises is family. Well, then how come Mrs. Arthur Fleck? How come Mrs. Penny Fleck? How come Penny Fleck wasn't treated like family? You know what I'm saying? Well, that kind of does defer back to the idea that she was crazy, as the term is. Oh, God, cancel culture, man. Tell me that one of these days, crazy and psycho is not going to be one of those banned words, right? Or two of the banned words. Tell me that's not going to happen one of these days. That person said crazy. That's insulting to people with mental handicaps. And psycho. They're not talking about psychotic syndrome and blah, blah, blah. It's like they just said psycho. Oh, my God. Pretty soon we're not going to be allowed to talk. You ever read 1984? I have. Gonna have to go. Hayden, didn't even notice you were in here. It's getting nearly 2:30 a.m. over here. 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. Oh, you're in England. What's up? Okay, so good night in jolly old England. I'll talk to you later, brother. Okay, Joker is a masterpiece. Joker's really good. It's got its flaws. It's certainly got its flaws, Alexander, but yeah, it's also a masterpiece. It is really good. I was pointing out to my wife though that it's really hard to call it a comic book movie. It's called The Joker, and it's set in Gotham. It doesn't have to be set in Gotham. It could be set anywhere, just in general, New York City, right? There is no Joker origin story that we've ever seen in the comics. They take so much liberty with it. It's really only the very end of the movie where you actually see anything having to do with the Bat family or Joker or this, that, or the other thing. In fact, one of the things that Todd Phillips was actually planning on doing in the movie was having Arthur Fleck kill Bruce Wayne. Yes, they were actually planning on having Bruce Wayne be killed in this movie, which would have been pretty challenging for making a sequel, right? If they were ever going to make a sequel. Comics expertise. Thank you for the $10. Since you're a former military, is it evil or wrong to use a bioweapon against enemy soldiers who have 50,000 civilian hostages and leverage the cure for their surrender? The cure for their surrender? If you want to fix that, send it soon, please. Just send a regular message, please. Since you're former military, is it evil or wrong to use a biological weapon against enemy soldiers who have 50,000 civilian hostages? And I guess you're saying leverage? Yeah, leverage the cure for their surrender. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, and I hate that there's such limited space to get your point across. Here, until you please explain the bottom half of that. What do you mean leverage the cure for their surrender? For now, I'll talk about the just the use of biological weapons, period. No, I don't think they're right. Realistically, I'm anti-war. I'm just going to point it out that way. It could very well be a necessary evil because unfortunately there are people out there who aren't anti-war. And if you're not anti-war, then you are pro-war. I mean, this is one of those things where there's not much of a middle ground there. If you're not anti-war, then you are pro-war, you know? Having an army doesn't make you pro-war. It's about defending yourself just in case. But like when push comes to shove, I don't like the idea of war because that is class warfare. It's rich, super privileged people who make laws and declare war, and they send the poorest of the poor in to fight and die in those wars. And if you're super poor, you can either go in as an officer, which means you don't actually have to go front lines. You don't actually have to be on the ground like that. Or you can buy your way out of a draft if we ever have a draft. Go back and look at Gangs of New York. Like, Gangs of New York is one of the best freaking movies that's ever been written, performed, budgeted, and played in cinemas ever. 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 Like, it's an amazing movie. So no, I'm anti-war in the most ways possible. It's one of the reasons why I'm pro Bernie Sanders. He is the most anti-war candidate out there. Silva is going to disagree with me, but nope. Even the person who you support the most is okay when violence is used against Muslim countries. And no, sorry, I don't think that violence should be used against any country. I think that it should just stop. Even the idea of embargoes and stuff like that. It's only the poor people who are being affected. It's not the rich who are being affected. But now we're talking about biological weapons. We can also, if you want to, add in exchange for their surrender. Okay, so I'll get to that in a hot minute. But biological weapons, I'm going to put landmines in there also. These are things that wound the enemy. Look, we used to use the M1 Garand was the rifle that we used to use before we started using the M16. It's a superior weapon in all but two aspects. It had greater firepower, greater accuracy. You could drop it in water or mud, it would still fire. You could clean it and make it better, but it would still fire. You know what I'm saying? The sights worked great on it. You didn't have to adjust for windage all the time. It was just, this is how you shoot the gun. Please shoot the gun. You know what I'm saying? Shoot the weapon. But on top of that, they would have and let me keep that up there while I put this here so that I don't lose your next thing. But they dropped that in the middle of Vietnam, mind you. They stopped using the M1 and started using the M16. Why? Well, because people paid for it. The military industrial complex paid for it. So now all of a sudden, soldiers who are already in the thick of things and were trained to use this weapon are now forced to use this weapon. Gee, why was it so hard for our soldiers in Vietnam? A war that we never should have gotten into in the first place, mind you. Well, the M16 was lighter because the M1, the Garand, it actually used exchange for their surrender or in exchange for their hostages. Okay. Anyway, they what happened? They did oh, for the love of God. Anyway, they were lighter. They were lighter because they were made out of plastic and metal. Hasbro or Mattel, it was Mattel. Mattel actually manufactured the plastic parts for an M16. Go figure. But meanwhile, the M1 Garand was made out of metal and wood. So it was an extremely, I don't remember exactly what the weight is, but if I remember correctly, it was 7.6 pounds, 7.5 pounds for that's how much an M16 weighed. And we used to have to, in basic training, we used to take the M16 and hold it like this and hold it out in front of us and hold it up. These were the rifle drills that would get us, to reach muscle failure to the point where we're shaking. And it's like, okay, now put the weapon down. It's like, okay, that's going to help you to build up your strength. Like, wow, yeah. And the 16 feels like nothing. Of course, I went on to become an M60 gunner, which weighs 27.5 pounds. Wow. And that's before you start adding on 12 or what do you call it? Seven belts of ammunition. Wow, man, drums of ammunition. Anyway, not drums. We didn't use a drum for that. The what do they call them? The cases, the boxes of ammunition. Anyway, so what have you? No, the one of the things that the M16 did though, is that they actually wounded people. So besides it was lighter, the second thing is that it actually wounded people as opposed to kill them. The Garand, if I remember correctly, used 7.62 ammo, which is what the M60 uses, which is what the AK uses. But the M16 uses 5.56 rounds. So that's the grains inside. It's not the caliber. So this is a bullet that goes in you like this and comes out the back like this. So it penetrates you like this, and the exit wound, if there is an exit wound, boom, and it just rips a huge chunk out of you. It's not meant to kill you. If you get shot in the head, you're probably going to get shot in the head. If you're wearing your K-pot, your Kevlar helmet, it'll just ding, you know what I'm saying, and jack you up. You'll be like, ow, massive headache, but it'll incapacitate you. The idea is, and you actually see this in the end of, towards the end of the Full Metal Jacket movie. The idea is that if you shoot someone, they don't die, they get hurt. And then they send one or two people out to retrieve this person, and then you could shoot them also. How wicked and evil and cruel is that? Mind you, these are also the poorest of the poor, or freedom fighters, which are usually the poorest of the poor for other countries also. Think about that. Think about the Civil War. Go and look at the Ted Turner movies. Civil War, and I think it was called Civil War, and I can't remember. Ted Turner put out two movies for two different parts of the Civil War. He never made Appomattox, which would have been the third part, which I'm sad that he never did. Gettysburg was the first one, but then he did another one that was actually much, much better than Gettysburg. Some of the same actors playing some of the same roles, but sometimes he switched some of the actors, and they were better in that regard. Anyway, there was Gettysburg, and there's another movie. And if anybody can remember who that person was, please point it out, because holy crap, it was an amazing movie, and it really showed Irish people coming over in generation after generation. Some of them on the north, some of them on the south. Depends on where your ship landed. Did it land in Virginia or did it land in New York? You know what I'm saying? And that determined where you were going to go and fight in the war. So they would literally meet cousins and brothers sometimes, saying on the battlefield, killing each other for the sake of the U.S. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. When we say more Americans were killed in that war, yeah, there were people who were made citizens right off the boat and never really walked on the shore very much. You know what I'm saying? It's devastating, the stuff they did. All these poor people, that's what they did. So no, I don't like the idea. And biological weapons are worse in that regard. Here's people who are injured and they're hurt and they go off and just like it's horrible. It's horrible living the rest of your life, if you live at all, and you've got what, radiation sickness or this chemical sickness like Agent Orange or whatever. It's disgusting. It's ridiculously disgusting. But now in this particular, so I think that should answer anything right there. But you're talking about in exchange for the release of hostages. So give me those hostages, or else we will use chemical weapons on you. Just I'm gonna like you're trying to. I feel like you're trying to put me, and I don't think it's in a negative way at all. But I feel like, what you're looking at is the worst possible scenario. And I look at it as, if that's the situation that you're in and that's what you got to do, you do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? In war, you do what you've got to do. So I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no. I'm saying don't think of only one way out of a situation. The idea is to think of as many ways you possibly can. That's what our officers are supposed to do. Soldiers like me, regular infantry grunts, the idea is to adapt and overcome. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only thing that we can really do. You react to the situation. Like there are decisions that you sometimes have to make inside of, the time span of a breath. Otherwise it's your life or your death. There is no greater cause. That's nonsense. So when you look at something like this, I don't know, it's a hard thing to say, but honestly, like, why are we doing all the different things that we do? That's the only way that I can really look at things logically. Something like that would have to be something that I would look at in a last minute kind of situation. And no, just war is wrong. All of it's wrong. Oh, for crying out loud. What's going on, brother? Federico Blee, colorist extraordinaire. I was just talking about you. I was just talking about you and Paul Mounts today at Gotham Central Comics and Collectibles right here in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. Actually, that way. That way. What happened? There was the 8th anniversary of the comic book stores. Freaking awesome. Had a whole bunch of local guys coming up and hanging out. Oh my God, I have I put it up. Where is it? Hold on. I got to show you this commission I got. Check this out. This is my bud. Let me take this thing down. So check this out. My bud goes and does this. This is the Thing, the original Rock, and here's Rocky Johnson, the Rock, getting the rock bottom. Like, how sick is that? That's my buddy Arnold Trinidad. This guy's awesome. He's not a colorist. He just decided to do the colors on this, but like he does his own pencils and then he goes online, he does his inks. And no, like I was actually talking to Arnold today about you and Paul Mounts today. Because of like what he was saying about the little bit of colors that he did on this. And he's like, yeah, man, these guys that do the colors, like they're really not taken as seriously as they should be. They're not giving the kind of credit that they should be given because, what do you call it? Like they're the guys that tell you oftentimes where to look on a page. That's actually one of the arguments that I made. It's one thing to have beautiful art, but like when you look at like let's say you look at the Mona Lisa. Let's look at the Mona Lisa. I guess the Mona Lisa is good enough to compare with comic books, maybe. But at the end of the day, you have the Mona Lisa. Excuse me. What's the one thing that everybody focuses on? They focus on the smile. So what is the thing that you focus on in a comic book? Well, whatever it is, if you have a colorist worth their salt, worth their pay, then the colorist will tell you what to look at, what the most important thing is to look at, because like you change the hue, but of course the shadows on the hue have to match also. So like everything they do, like that's what you got to put together. You got to the colorist is the person who's going to tell you what is the thing that you're mostly looking at. Because if you remember back in the day, like a long time ago when Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and Gene Colan and Don Heck were still doing comic books back in the day. Steve Ditko, somebody's going to get pissed if I don't mention Ditko. But when these guys were doing the comics way back in the day, they would draw a circle around what they really wanted you to focus on. Well, we're a slightly older audience nowadays, and we don't want to see that nonsense. Just like we don't, when somebody's doing panel layouts, you don't want to see somebody putting arrows saying, oh, you're on this panel. Now look at this panel. Now look at this panel. Now look at this. Nobody wants that nonsense anymore. If I can't look at the page and organically see which panel I'm supposed to look at next, somebody screwed up. You know what I'm saying? Likewise on the colors, nobody wants to see a circle around, hey, look right here, look at what someone's doing. It's the colorist that does that. So like, yeah, that's actually what I was talking with him about today. And it was a really freaking cool conversation. And yeah, Federico Blee and Paul Mounts are the two colorists that I'm talking about up in here. Doug Johnson's funny. Yes, I am pro warfare if it's class warfare. But again, I don't want to be. I don't want to be. I don't want that to be a situation. I don't want that to be a thing. I was almost out. And much like Godfather Part 3, you guys just pull me back in. So, Comic Universal Professor, is just the Shazam part of Billy infected? It looks like No, it looks like the whole thing was happening because he did transform back and forth a couple of times, and when he was as Billy, he kept he kept on getting more angry also, right? Because Billy is Shazam. They are the same thing. It's really just like a self-contained time travel thing that's happening. It's like, this is me in the future. You know what I'm saying? This is my adult version of me, bodily at least, if not in the mind. So yeah. Well, actually, in a way, because if you think about it, that worldly wisdom that he needs is supposed to be the wisdom of Solomon. So, yes, in a way, his future self. It's funny when you think about it that way. I never thought about it before, but basically, that's a form of self-contained time travel. Is when Billy Batson screams out "Shazam!" So, let's go down a little bit more. What's up, Isaiah? How you doing? What about in Thor issue number 2? All these hints of future crossovers. Thor looking over, watching the Black Winter kill the DC universe. I honestly didn't even look at the previews yet. What do you call it? Marvel Comics does not send me comic books early. So I don't have any interest in reading just the previews for a comic book. Valiant Comics sends me their comics early, so I read their comics in advance. Yeah, and then sometimes a writer will send me something early, like Jim Zub will sometimes send me something early. So boom, I have an opportunity to read an entire comic book early, and I'm definitely going to pick those over reading like a snippet to make me interested in something. I'm interested in reading the comic books. That's why I physically buy the comic books. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what do you think? Who do you think Kindred? I have no idea who Kindred is, man. Comics expertise. I'm referring to Cyclops using the legacy virus. Oh, okay. Against Skrulls who took 50,000 hostages. The Skrulls gave the X-Men 10 minutes to surrender, or they would kill the hostages. Up until that point, the X-Men utilized guerrilla tactics. Gotcha. Okay. So when you put me in a situation like that, yeah, see, it's comic books and it's a lot easier to do, right? But then again, that is Cyclops making a unilateral decision, but on the spot. How much time does he really have to act? And I'm fortunately not in that kind of a situation. I've never been anything more than like a team leader. So I've never even been. No, I have been a squad leader. Sorry, I have been a squad leader in basic training, but in real life, I was never a squad leader. I was a team leader. What I'm saying, but not a squad leader. So, yeah. So I never had more than 5 people under my jurisdiction at a certain time. And even then, it was only when we were splitting our squad. So, yeah. The utilized guerrilla tactics. That was in Secret Invasion, X-Men 3 and 4. I remember it. Hey, Bill, how do you like the current run on Thor has started? Donny Cates on Thor is freaking amazing. It is bombastically good. Like, I'm shocked at how good that first issue is. But then again, it was also a first issue. We're gonna have to see how the next 3 or 4 or 9 issues go. I don't want to just see something amazing when he's got an event going. I don't want to see something that's, that feels like a placeholder. I mean, it's got to happen in comics. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of the business. You can't always be writing that amazing comic book that blows everybody away, but it's the number of filler issues, and do those filler issues actually have crucial content inside? If you're going to do a high action comic book, you don't need to have too much story progression. If you're going to have a low action comic book, maybe that's the time to put in a really cool, crucial moment that's going to have to be referred to at some point. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if that particular arc isn't going to be great, do something that's going to be serious character progression for the character. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always ways to do that, and we've seen writers work this amazing content before. It's about strategically placing what you're going to be doing next to make somebody say, holy crap, every single one of these comics matter. They're not the same. All these comic books can't be looked at the same. This was a boring issue as far as action is concerned, but something happened in there that's crucial to the next issue or to 5 issues from now, you know what I'm saying, or the next story arc. Like, wow. So you really have to have that balance. It's like time management. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to prioritize. This is like prioritizing while juggling. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy being a writer. It's simply not. Especially like a comic book writer, I think has more stress on them than anybody else. Any other version of a writer, I should say. Let's go down here. Eric Stewart, Brett's best sleeper book so far this year. Sleeper book that I've read. That's like doing a number 1 list. That's like, or a top 5 list. Even if you're saying number 1, it's like, well, that would mean that there's a number 2, right? And it's like a list, and I don't usually do those, man. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I know that's what everybody looks for, and it's the typical thing to ask. I don't consider myself the typical reviewer, though. It's one of the reasons why some of these other guys have, are so much bigger than me. They've got, some of them have clickbaity titles. It's funny. I actually watched something that I can't remember what it was. I watched something that Rob from Comics Explained did recently, because people are like, Rob doesn't do comic reviews. And so I was like, let me just confirm, is he still doing comic book reviews? And sure enough, he's still doing comic book reviews. This is not disrespecting Rob in any way, shape, or form. It's showing the brilliance, really, of what he does, that we don't notice what he's doing. Let's see. Comics Explained, right? Comics Explained. Boom. Let's go there. Okay, here he is. Okay, so let's just open that up and go there and see what this guy is doing right now. Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't. Oh, it's in my ears. Okay, good. I don't want any of his content actually on the screen or in audio, because like he could wind up, yelling at me for something. Okay. Secret Wars, 1984's full story. I'm sorry, how is that not a comic book review? Right? Actually, that's an event review, right? He's doing the entire Secret Wars story. Okay, boom. There was something else that he did in here. Actually, and that's all of these other videos put together, because what's one of the things he does? Iron Man versus Magneto in the Avengers versus X-Men story. That's literally one of those things. Spider-Man versus Unstoppable Colossus. He's just talking about what happened in the Avengers versus X-Men. Secret Wars, Galactus versus Ultron. Does everybody remember that first issue? I could tell you right, like, look, he's got a 20-minute video about that. Let me tell you what happened. Ultron comes up and he's like, oh, all I see are life forms everywhere, and I'm here to kill life forms. Raw! And he starts, blasting everybody with everybody with life forms. He starts blasting all the living beings around, the carbon-based life, or mutants, humans alike. He's blasting them all, and they're like, I don't know what we're gonna do. Oh, he's too powerful. Adamantium body. Maybe I could fly in, but he's like super nuclear powered core. Holy crap! And then all of a sudden he's like, wait a second, and I kill life forms, and he flies up and gets face to face with Galactus. He's like, and you're the biggest life form here. I'm gonna squash you first. And Galactus just looks at him and just kind of goes, boop, and just sucks the entire the entirety of the energy from that nuclear reactor right out of him. And I know that we're looking at Galactus like, oh, well, he's Galactus. No, no, I want you to actually think about how powerful that is, because we're talking about a nuclear reactor. You know that there's a half-life of like 1,000 years, whatever it is. I don't remember the exact, number. I used to know, but on a spent nuclear reactor, like the rods that they use. These things are insanely powerful. One nuclear reactor can power city after city, like metropolises. They're so freaking powerful. It's ridiculous. Chernobyl. If those, I know nobody likes to say that Russians are brave. Russians are brave. These guys, for no other reason than to save other people's lives, went in to try and pull out some of the I forget what it was called, but whatever the leftover reactor residual crap, to pull some of that stuff out, getting themselves permanent. Like, you can't get over radiation sickness. The half-life of the radiation is infinitely longer than our lives, than our lifespan, even as a child. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, isotopes. That's the word I was looking for. So anyway, like, these things are ridiculously powerful nuclear reactors, and there's a nuclear reactor inside of a miniaturized nuclear reactor inside of Ultron, and Galactus is just like, and there's nothing left, and Ultron's shell just goes boom on the ground. Nothing else happened. That was the entirety. And then Galactus flies up and he starts creating. And several issues later, they realize he's creating another version of Ta 2 or whatever. So, oh no, he teleports in Ta 2, which is his ship, which is actually a freaking metropolis in its own, his size. And he starts making the machine so that he could drain Battle World. That's it. Like, that was the fight. It was literally, that was it. Somehow Rob goes and makes a 20-minute video about it. I don't know what the 20 minutes is. I don't know what happens in the video. I didn't watch the video. I'm just looking at the thumbnail right now, and I think that's hysterical. But like, he made a freaking 20-minute video about that. Look, this is not me insulting Rob. This is me touting the genius that is Rob. So many people look at Rob's channel and say, no, he's not a comic book reviewer. And I look at it, and as a fellow content creator who's like infinitesimal compared to his audience, he's a freaking comic book reviewer. That's all he does. But he makes really awesome looking thumbnails, and they're very engaging, very interactive, thumbnails that, suck people in. He's got these cool little, clickbait sounds like such a negative term, but whatever. It's a form of clickbait. It's like, don't you want to check out how Galactus goes against Ultron? But if you read the comic book, you're like, it was literally a 2-second fight. It all happened inside of one panel. There was only one panel where he's face to face with Galactus before he's just, like, how is he talking about this thing for 20 freaking minutes? I don't understand it, but that's what he does. He does comic book reviews. That's the only thing that Rob really does, is comic book reviews. There's a couple other things he does, like, I saw he did, I just closed the freaking thing, but he had something on there, the full power of Magneto or something like that, like, I forget what it's called. Oh, the too powerful for the MCU things, which technically, wouldn't a Celestial be more powerful than some of the characters that he's talking about on there? Like, too powerful for the MCU. Man, I'm not into putting up clickbaity titles. I'm just not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here to talk about comic books. If you want to hear what I have to say, you'll be here. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. If you're not, you won't be. I'm not going to fight for my audience. I'm not going to struggle for my audience. You either want to be here or you're not. You appreciate and like what I'm saying, or you don't. It's really just that simple, And if you like it, please tell me that you like it. Give me a like. You know what I'm saying? Or give me a dislike if you don't like it. Whatever. Just let me know. Let me know what kind of content you guys want to see and whatnot. But as far as, like, I just don't want to put that much work into the marketing aspect of it. I got my degree in business management with a specialty in marketing, and I look at marketing as just one of the most reprehensible freaking concepts out there. You know what the number one thing that America produces right now, besides weapons of war? We produce great marketing content. And that's one of the reasons why we all believe our own hype so much, and it's painful, man. And I just don't want to be a part of that. So no, I'm not going to make super awesome clickbaity type titles, and I'm just not interested. Here's my symbol on the side, Comic Book University. That's how you know it's one of my videos. Or if somebody tries to steal that, please let me know so that I can rip them a new one legally, because I own the rights to Comic Book University in Canada. Just that's mine, you know. And that symbol, all that stuff, that's all mine. That's all copyrighted. That's mine. As far as like trying to get people to come in and see something that's real, no, it's just not me. I'm just here to talk about comic books. That's it. I'm here to give you my opinion on comic books and to hear your opinions on. That's it. You know. Um, Comic Universal. Professor, are you excited for any Marvel The End comic book? No. In fact, last week I had, if you guys saw my Facebook post, Cats on Comics, where my cat was sitting on my backpack with all my comic books in it. The two of the comic books that were in there, one was the Batman Curse of the White Knight right here. And then the other one was, where do I have it? Oh, no, no, no. Wait, that was this week's. Anyway, last week, I forget what it was. There were two comics in there, and one of them was Venom: The End. I bought it. It's here somewhere. I moved it because I don't want to. I want to separate this pile with that pile in case I start doing the Dookie Fat Stacks again. I should probably do the Dookie Fat Stacks again. Anyway, but I feel like I got to make a song for it, right? Anyway, so I moved those, but I had Venom: The End. I didn't do a review on it because I bought it thinking maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't. I don't know, but like the previous one was just the Miles Morales one was so weak. Like, you know what? I have no interest in reviewing this. I have no interest in reviewing um, Venom: The End. I have no interest. One book that I will be looking at, though, one of the End books, Kelly Thompson's been really hot lately. She's been really hot with what she's writing. So I will check out Captain Marvel: The End because that actually sounds like something I might be interested in. Most of the time the end books are just whatever, and it's like you've got somebody who's currently writing a comic book and then somebody else will do the end comic book. Not interested. But Kelly Thompson is writing Captain Marvel right now. The fans have spoken, and the vast overwhelming majority love what Kelly Thompson is doing. And so the idea that she's going to be also writing the end book for Captain Marvel, I think it's very fitting, and I'm going to check it out. You never know. She might actually do something that we can see. Oh, hey, long term, it could actually happen. You never know. You never know. Do-do-do-do. I watch this from my PS4. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. And chatting. Oh, no, of course I know that because that's what we do. That's what my kids watch their Minecraft videos. Okay, it's duh. My bad. I'm sorry. Um, I'm watching this from PS4 and chatting through my phone. You threw your phone? What'd you throw your phone for, Viclops? Did I say something upsetting? Doug Johnson. Rob explains the comic for normies, but he does not critique the comic. That's why people says he does not do reviews. Well, I don't know, because you're saying he does not critique the comic. Like I said, I haven't seen I haven't really watched one of his videos in a while. But when Rob is going, "Oh my God, dude! Like this comic book is freaking amazing! Oh my God!" Isn't that kind of reviewing it? Maybe I'm just looking at it from a completely different angle, but I mean, I'm just saying because like I don't give a letter grade or a number. I don't give grades for my comic books. I did that for a very short while, where I actually gave a grade to my comics. Like an A plus or something like that, because it's Comic Book University. It's a school it's a school setting, of course, right? I literally just look at it as the chat. Oh, I'm in the chat through my phone. I see what you're doing there. Okay, cool. Very cool. Very cool. So, what happens? I don't know, man. I just look at it as he's doing reviews because but he's only doing comic books that for the most part he likes, and that's really it. He's reviewing the comic book. And honestly, if he's going, oh my God, gosh, like when this happened, and he doesn't actually like it, well then it's manufactured, and that wouldn't be cool either. Like I said, I don't have a negative thing to say about Rob, like a genuine article, negative thing to say about him. I don't. He is, I think, he's the hands down single most successful comic book person on the internet right now. You know, saying like I'm going to say reviewer. I'm going to say reviewer. He's got the number one comic book channel out there right now. I mean, like essentially, he rivals Marvel. Of course, Marvel, channel is going to have a whole bunch of things, and people are going to go there because, well, I've got to see what they're going to be doing next, what new thing they're going to announce. But aside from that, people who actually go and they see he's got a new video and like clicking the bell icons, like, oh, he's got a new video, got to check out what it is. That's Rob. After that is what? Comic Historian, I guess, and then Variant. You know what I'm saying? Like Comics Tom is getting up there. A bunch of people are getting up there and whatnot. I don't think I'm ever going to be up there because I just don't care to be up there. I would love it if I was. It would be like, dude, people actually give a crap what I'm saying. But like Rob goes out of his way to, and it helps that he was one of the first, you know what I'm saying? But he goes out of his way to make sure that his content, boom, 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 boom. Like when you think about it, Ben, if I remember correct, no, I do remember correctly. Benny used to work for YouTube in some way, so he knows how all this stuff working. And him and Rob are best friends, so of course, like if anybody knows the algorithm, it's freaking Benny. You know what I'm saying? And him hanging out with like they moved next to each other and whatnot. Rob moved next to him, and they hang out all the time and whatnot. They appear on each other's channel. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. And obviously they're doing it right. I am not doing it right if I've only got 14,500 subs. I understand that. If you happen to find me, maybe you'll take a listen. If you happen to like what you hear, maybe you'll subscribe. But literally, like when Rob and all these other guys are doing freaking, okay, guys, hey, if you want to be a part of the Rob Corps, I say, I try to remember to call you guys alumni. You know what I'm saying? CBU or Comic Book University alumni. I try to, but it's totally tongue in cheek. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you guys just here to hang out with me. That's all it is. I'm not I call myself Professor Bill. There are lots of professors out there. Look at some of my older videos. Be like, welcome friends and welcome students and fellow professors. You know what I'm saying? Like I would say that because I don't consider myself the utmost authority on comic books. I'm a guy who reads comics and I've got an opinion on them. That's it. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, there's nothing more humbling than that. I'm literally just doing that. And something that's actually humbling is when a bunch of people are actually like, yeah, you know what? I like what Bill's got to say. And maybe you like my voice. Maybe you like my attitude. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you got my never say die attitude, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, I'm apparently providing something, but I'm clearly not providing what Rob and Benny and all those guys are providing. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. These guys are 100% doing it right. I'm just doing me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm so comfortable with doing that. I'm so comfortable with doing that. All I really want is for me to get big enough doing this that I don't have to teach English anymore. And it's not that I don't like teaching English. It's just I don't want to do both. And if I had to pick one, I'd rather have my destiny in my own hands. You know what I'm saying? So I can make a video whenever I want, as opposed to, oh crap, those kids are just getting home from school in China. I guess it's time for me to start, you know what I'm saying, doing some getting online and seeing who needs to be taught. That's all. That's literally just me. Um, let's see. You're the only reviewer I watch. Tank Nelson, you are freaking awesome. Thank you very much. So you think Kitty Pryde is dead? Rob is more of a walkthrough. That's like twice in one moment, like two completely random, or not random, but separate thoughts. They're totally in context. No, I don't think that Kitty Pryde is dead. I don't think that she's dead. I think that she's got water in her lungs and she's drowning. Excuse me. I think that she's going to be saved at the last moment. That's what I think. When do you think Alfred will come back? Good question. Honestly, one of the best questions out there. That's one of the things that I think about. Like here's Tom King who shows up and he's like, "I'm killing Alfred." Cool. What's the after effects of that? I don't know and I don't care. I'll let other people write that. That is the exact. And I want like I don't want to be insulting, and I was actually about to be insulting. I don't think that that's genius. You know what I'm saying? It's not stupid, but I'm saying I don't think that's genius. I'm going to kill a character. Okay, how are you going to deal with the fallout? I don't know. I'm going to let other people deal with that. You see how it's like not a very well thought out idea? You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. I'm gonna go and assassinate the number two guy in Iran. Cool. What happens when they retaliate? You think that they'll retaliate? No, I'll send a very strongly worded letter. Dude, you're an idiot. They're going to retaliate. Guess what? They retaliated. So like, oh my God, it's called escalation. It always happens. Um, let's see. My top three reviewers, you, Rob, and Benny. Holy crap. Damn. Well, I'm in freaking awesome company. Thank you, Raven. Um, mine are Comic Universal. Mine are number one, Professor. Seriously, I'm your number one? You know, with so many people saying number one, like where where are all the other people who would think that? But thank you, Comic Universal. Number two is Comic Book Corner. I have to check out Comic Book Corner. And a tie between Comic Uno and Dylan. Dylan's comic book rants. Hell's to the yes. The only guy who ever literally took over my freaking this very podcast just a couple of episodes ago. That's hysterical. Um, you do you, boo. Well, I try, old fact, by the way. Hey, what's up? Viclops, I've been since the beginning. You never tried to make us join a cult before. Yeah. Oh, that was the thought that I didn't get that I didn't take the chance to finish. When do you ever hear me saying subscribe, hit the bell notification, like, and share? Like every so often, I'll put out one of those at a time, like once a week, maybe once a month. Sometimes I'll be like, hey guys, don't forget to like the video. Like Sammy, my marketing person, the person who's actually putting together my website and helping me with my social media presence, she says, "Listen, I actually get mad when I watch your videos and I don't see you say, hey guys, make sure you like and subscribe and share and ring the bell notification." I'm like, you're telling me, and she's 22 years old. All right, I specifically wanted someone who was younger than me. She's literally half my age. You know what I'm saying? I'm 44 years old. She's half my age. It's people her age that are going to be looking for new content, right? So I'm like, she should be perfect. And she's great. But she says, I get so mad at you when you don't do that stuff because the way that some of these people do it, it's like, hey man, make sure you like these things so that I know. And it's like, I didn't know how to do that. She's like, just do it. I'm like, I can't do that. Like I just don't remember to do that stuff. I just don't remember to do that stuff. I can't do it. So yeah, I try though. I try. But yeah, like these guys do it at the beginning and the end of every single one of their freaking videos. I'm like, doesn't that just get so repetitive? Sometimes I think, should I change up? Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Sometimes I think I should change that because like you guys expect it. um Oh man, every so often when I'm actually at Gotham Central and somebody sees me like, holy crap, what's going on? I'll talk to, like, I spend time talking to you guys, whatever. Or I swear to God, if I see you guys in like a Walmart or shopping someplace, you know what I'm saying? Saw one guy in a Toys R Us the one time. And every so often somebody, be like, all right, dude, I'll talk to you later, man. Comment and and I'll see you in the chat and whatnot. I'm like, whoa, you can't just leave like that. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go hang out with my family and stuff. It's like, no, dude, you can't just say bye. You don't say, how do you always close your shows? I'm like, are you kidding me? You actually want me to do that? Yeah. I'm like, all right. Hey pal, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed. Like they actually want me to end the conversation like that, which I think is freaking hysterical. So I guess it's funny enough. It's good enough. Oy. But yes, like sometimes I think like I just don't want to be redundant. Um, I like Rob's content and his enthusiasm seems genuine. And yet to see him say he thought something was lame or boring though, and say he was dropping off a read. Does he? Oh, and you have yet to see him say that. Yeah, that's also interesting. It's just interesting to like every single thing that you're reading. Um, somebody talked about how some of the bigger guys, not these guys specifically, but some of the bigger guys will they'll get sponsored by somebody and suddenly they like their content when they didn't like it before. And it's like that's something that I'm afraid of, because Valiant, they don't sponsor me, they don't pay me to do anything. They just send me free digital releases of comic books. Actually, they do send me free physical copies too sometimes if I ask for something. They've sent me five so far. They sent me five comic books so far for free, which is cool. But um, basically, like I look at it as I can't have Valiant be the audience that I'm speaking to. I do like most of their books. Some of their books, though, I just don't like. It's not an insult towards the writer or the artist. I'm not looking to make a personal attack against somebody. If I can't stand, if I look at someone's like, this is the worst comic book I've ever read, I'm still not going to turn around and be like, the writer is an SJW asshole, and the artist doesn't know how to draw. They should go back to the Cracker Jack box they got their art certificate from. Like, I'm just not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to make a freaking personal attack against somebody while at the same time, you got to be critical about a comic book once in a while. And you got to be like, okay, this was really good. Here's the problem that I see with it. You know what I'm saying? And like, here's the things I liked. Here's the things I didn't like about it. Here's something I'd really like to see about it. Just like I don't think it's insulting to do that. If someone gets insulting, that's different. If someone gets insulted, that's different. Good night, Paula. I'll see you later. Probably missed her. But what do you call it? Like yeah, I'm just not trying to insult anybody. I'm really not. But at the same time, I can't make it that like if Marvel or DC, fingers crossed, finally recognize, hey, this professor guy, he's not a jerk, and even when people send him comic books, digitally, he still physically buys the comic books so that he can hold them up and say, look, I'm buying comic books. You should buy comic books too. Don't steal comic books online. Yeah, and they see that I'm not one of these jerks that, like I'm the genuine article, I think. I don't make personal attacks against anybody like, a lot of other people do. And I I really hate to say this because I've actually talked to Benny before, not in person, but like through email, not Benny, I'm sorry, Sal from TV Little House, Comics Pop. Even if I did watch other people's content, I can't really watch his most famous show that he does. The weekly whatever the thing is, he puts it out every Wednesday. I know he still puts it out because I still get the notifications. Like I'm subscribed to his channel because why wouldn't I be? But I don't watch anybody's content. I just don't. But he puts out this, that weekly thing, and like I'm not offended by it, but I look at it as you're literally sitting down with two guys who you say don't know anything about comic books, but at this point, the shtick is over. Like the two guys that are with him know about comics now. They're making references to other comic books now and whatnot. These aren't noobs. These aren't comic book noobs anymore. They know comic books, Anyway, so but that be and then his wife, who's totally freaking awesome. But like no matter who it is, all four of them, they sit down and they actually make fun of the comic book. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like at this point, what are you doing? And I listen, I'm being honest. I know that this is throwing shade and I hate the idea that I'm doing it, but I look at that and I say like I can never be that person. Like that's the one besides when I look at Comicsgate and those guys just being a-holes and making personal attacks against people, that's not really in my nature to do anyway. But making a joke about a comic book and the plot and the art and all these different things, how is that not a personal attack? Right? So I look at that and like that's literally the one thing that I look at and I say, I can never be that person. I never want to be that guy who actually freaking makes fun of a comic book because that's just wrong. You know what I'm saying? Um, like if it's an issue or something specific happens, that's one thing. But like, come on, man, that's just so far beyond the pale. But nonetheless, these guys send them comic books and whatnot. It's like, dude, but I'm not that guy. So I'm hoping that one of these days, and that's actually one of the reasons why I hired someone to make a website for me because I think it's old school. I don't think there's any reason for me to have a website, but if having a website that I maintain is going to help, cool. I'll put up a website. Hey, Marvel, hey, DC, take me seriously, please, and start sending me your stuff early so that I can physically buy the comic book and do a review of your comic book. But I have this stuff early and I actually feel like they value what I'm, bringing to the table. Until then, Valiant at least does it for me. But even then, I can't just sit there and start talking about, dude, these guys are the best. This is the best comic ever. I can't be that guy. Tank, you're leaving. All right. Talk to you later, brother. Underwood, what's up, Underwood? You're the only comic book channel I really watch. That's because you like the games, so I understand. Feels like you like the idea that I run the games. It's cool, man. I get it. You're one of the guys who came over from Nerdarchy, and thank you very much. I love you all the more for that. Federico Blee, class dismissed is your I have spoken. Yes, it really is. the Mandalorian. I should buy one of those helmets. Oh, hey, Bagel. Oh, no, Bagel's so sad. She's outside and she wants to come in and she's meowing. Oh, I know. Come, my little girl. Come here, my little girl. You want to come up? I'm going to pick you up. Okay, here, let me move this thing. Okay, come on up. Whee! There you go. What's up, my Bagel? My little Bagelina. Hello. I'll put this down for you guys. See my crotch or to see my cat. Whatever works. So, hello, my Bagel. Come here. What? I don't get a kissy? No, I know. I love you too, my kitty. She's gonna fall asleep on my lap, so I can't be here for too much longer. Anyway, yes, it kind of is. Class dismissed is my I have spoken from The Mandalorian. Doug Johnson, I think Rob is more of a fan channel. I don't really know what that means. Agreed. Gem is great. I guess Gem and Collectibles. Cool. And Professor, you said you did not know Comic Book Corner 2.0. He has a great series called Most Anticipated. Definitely some people should. Yeah, let me actually go and check him out right now. Comic Book Corner. Okay, so excuse me. I'll check out like a video. Comic Book Corner. Oops. Oh, and it is called 2.0. Okay, cool. It comes right up. Mike Spider Slayer. Is that him? It's got to be. Okay. No talking right there. Okay. Oh, okay. Almost 6,000 subs. Sweet. Here. Boom, subbed. I have subbed to Comic Book Corner 2, Mike Spider Slayer. So I'll check out his front video, his facing video, which I've got to do one of these days. I got to do one of those videos. The landing page video. And then English language, please. And then and I'll check out like probably his latest video or whichever one actually gets me interested. Gem Mint is a cool channel. He has Geminites. And bashing content gets clicks and views. Yes, it does, but that's not who I want to be. I don't want to be that guy. It simply wouldn't be who I am. Like I've talked to a lot of people who, when Comicsgate was big and relevant, they were like, yeah, man, I used to think like, look at the rapid speed with which these guys are getting these clicks and these views and these subs and stuff like that. So I started, and they always have SJW in their titles and in their description and the tags and whatnot. So I'll put SJW in everywhere, and it's like, dude, do you really want to be that person? And everybody who I'm at least still friends with, you know what I'm saying? They've always said, realistically, everybody I've ever talked to, and that they're always like, yeah, I realize like that's not the content that I want to make, and some of them are successful. Some of them aren't overly successful, but the idea is that like, there's a moral high ground, you know what I'm saying? And if you get more clicks than me and you got more patrons than me, congratulations. You are the king of slush. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather actually be somebody who's got a solid base. That's what I'm more interested in. Oh no, I've been called out. You ain't been called out on one. Taki, what's up, Taki? I think Comic Tropes is underrated. Um, is that the guy who talks about the old stuff? Didn't he leave the business? I thought he left the business. If I'm thinking, NerdSync. That's is that the same guy? I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to check. Um, the X books are weird, like Rogue beating Apocalypse and killing him. Yeah, well, absorbing him, like I guess I kind of get it. And plus, it seems like he knew that was going to happen. Like he let it happen. That's what was indicated in the previous issue number 6. Comic Universe Professor, how do you think Herc will fit into the Guardians team? Like, how will he fit into the dynamic stuff they did with MCU Drax? Okay, the way that I think he's going to fit in is because they don't have a place for him otherwise. On top of that, they've also shown with like the Chaos Wars and stuff like that that he can really fit into those cosmic schemes. He really can, you know. He doesn't have a Mjolnir, you know, his golden mace isn't nearly as powerful as freaking Thor's hammer, as powerful as Mjolnir, but he does have a place in the cosmic ethos. He is a ridiculously powerful character. The Son of Olympus is a force to be reckoned with, and it could be a lot of fun having him on the team. So I'm really looking forward to him being there. And I hope it's not just him being there for these pseudo, faux Greek gods. We are talking about the Al Ewing first issue of Guardians of the Galaxy, which just dropped recently. Comic Tropes is cool. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Sub for sub. When people, I think you remember when people used to always ask me that. Hey, dude, sub for sub. Like when you're small, you always get that stuff. Sub for sub. Um, what do you call it? And I'm already sub to you, Chillmonger, because you're freaking awesome. Um, what do you call it? The blah, 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 blah. You know what? Chillmonger, contact me. Try and contact me. You know my email on the front. Please contact me by email, and we'll try and work out doing something together. All right? I want to do something with you pretty soon. Um, Mark Arrow, Kathleen Kennedy is dealing with delaying Kenobi because she doesn't like the scripts, considering she approved Last Jedi. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, maybe Favreau needs to get involved with that, or somebody who actually knows what they're doing. Kennedy is a weird one. Also, it seems like Kennedy is torn. Should she continue trying to make it a movie? Should she try and make it a TV series? If she does make it a TV series, should she go with the 8 episodes like Mandalorian, or should she do 4 episodes? Or should she do 13 episodes? Because people were saying that they wanted more of the Mandalorian. Like, what should they do? That's the thing. Kathleen Kennedy's biggest problem is that she's on the tippy top and she's trying to listen. This is actually a good thing. She's trying to listen to us, the fans. The problem is she's not actually one of us. She's not. And that's not her fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was hired for the job. She's not going to turn down a freaking multi-million-dollar job. She's not Steve Ditko. You know what I'm saying? So she's trying to listen to the fans. She just doesn't understand the language yet. You know what I'm saying? She hears people saying, we don't want that. We want this. And you know what Stan Lee and a lot of other people say? The fans don't really know what they want. You have to tell the fans what they want. You have to show the fans what they want. And Kathleen Kennedy's just not that person. But she's not even the person to really do that because, like, she doesn't make the movies. She's the executive person who talks to the people who make the movies. So I know there's a lot of hate on Kathleen Kennedy. I'm not really a particularly hateful person, but even when I am, I usually know where to direct it. Kathleen Kennedy is a bit out of her element. There's no denying that. But I don't think that she's trying to mess with things. She's actually trying to do what the fans want. She's hearing too many different things from too many different people, you know? So she's trying. Comicsgate was literally the stupidest thing in comics ever. I mean, I don't like Riri, but I don't think that she's quote unquote forced diversity. She's just a cool concept that was executed or that wasn't executed well. It wasn't executed to its fullest potential, that's for sure. But I think that Riri Williams is an amazing character. I love, love, love the character. There are some characters who you could tell are like a form of forced diversity, but like, for instance, Brian Michael Bendis making Miles Morales Spider-Man, there were people who complained about that. I couldn't see that as being any more organic than possible. You know, it was made. Miles Morales was made. Make no mistake, on a reaction. Um, what's his name? Donald Glover. Okay, not Danny Glover. Very different. But Donald Glover, um, uh, Gambino, childish Gambino. He made the comment when somebody goes and sends a tweet, hey man, do you think that Spider-Man could be black? He's like, yes. In fact, I could be Spider-Man. I think he said black, Latino, something like that. He's like, I could be Spider-Man. He was just saying it in jest, and people attacked it so hard. It's like, dude, are you freaking kidding me? People attacking that. And mind you, he said he could be Spider-Man. He didn't say he could be Peter Parker, you know? Like, you're talking about making a new Spider character. What's the problem with that? And it turns out it's an amazing character. And at the end of the day, comic skaters who attacked the idea of it, they were wrong. You've got your very specific audience here. Congratulations. Stay in your corner, because the rest of us are over here partying. Go over there and sulk. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we don't like what did they say? We don't like Brie Larson. The movie made a whole lot of money. People really liked the movie was, I'm going to even say myself, the movie was slow, all right, until you got to the end. But Brie did a great job. It was a very inspirational movie. It built up in a very organic way. Unfortunately, Kevin Feige lied to us and said there will be no more Marvel origin movies. And then here's a Marvel origin movie, and what happened? People didn't like it because it was a Marvel origin movie. Introduce the characters in one of the other movies. You can do that. Anyhow, so yeah, all of this, and it's like, dude. So they were wrong on that. Look at how much money it made. Look how much money it continues to make. They're making a sequel. I'm sorry, Comicsgate, you were wrong. The America Chavez thing, I'll give them that one. That's all I'll give them. But Riri Williams, people are still screaming for Riri Williams to come back and whatnot. Like more of that. Sorry, you were wrong on that. Miles Morales, like all these different things. They have been so wrong over and over and over again, So they've got their voice. It's valid for their own ears, but sorry, when you're talking about a consensus, you are not the majority. And the sooner they realize that, the better off they'll be. um, let's see. Agree with your point about Herc and Cosmic Stories because his Black Galaxy. See, um, in the '80s Thor's book, subs for Chillmonger. Yes, sub to Chillmonger. Watch his content. What about Namor? Less attack. I'm one on the 10 Namor fans in the US. I'm the other one. I'm one of them. Loves me some Namor, but he's got to be written right, and you can't just make him this angry. Look at what Chip Zdarsky did with Namor in the Invaders comic books. Those was 10 issues. God, amazing. People can write a good Namor story. You just have to have a good Namor story. Marvel can't just say, yeah, let's try and do a good Namor story. No. How about if somebody comes to you? Just wait until somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I got this pitch for a Namor story. Really? Let's hear it. Like do something like that. Don't just assign somebody, say, hey, we'd like you to write a Namor story. About what? I don't know. You're the writer. Nah, man, you can't have that. Can't have it. Excuse me. I can't explain. I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. Love the shirt. Thank you. I try to not always wear a comic book shirt. And aside from a solid Union shirt, I found this shirt at Walmart and like, it's $12. I'll buy the shirt. It was fun. See you next week. Got to go. See you later, James Monty. Which of the two Johnny Storm relationships do you prefer, Rogue and Johnny, or Johnny and Sky? From Point of Origin by Dan Slott. Haven't been reading Fantastic Four. I just haven't been reading Fantastic Four, but Uncanny Avengers I read, and I didn't like that at all. I just didn't like it. I felt like in some ways that was kind of like, was that Zub doing that? Yeah, no. Oh my God. Holy crap. First off, no disrespect to Zub, to finish that thought. No disrespect to Zub, but I felt like that was just, if that was Zub writing it, I think it was, but whoever it was, I feel like it was Zub trying to write Uncanny Avengers like the Teen Titans, and Uncanny Avengers are not the Teen Titans. You can't just have everybody trying to get with everybody. It's not a freaking, what is that called? It's not like an open relationship. It's not like a swingers party. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, So more than that, uh, I didn't watch it yet. I'm going to have to watch it because I got to see what happens on there. Midnight's Edge. I have on Facebook, I actually shared a video of Midnight's Edge one time. I really liked them. I subscribed to them. They had really good in-depth stories on YouTube about movies and things like that, comic book movies specifically, or horror movies, but mostly comic book movies, right? They got some great interviews. Uh, Dylan Barnett was one of the people, like he's a friend of the show. And the guy Andre, he's the main guy for Midnight's Edge. He's not the biggest comic book fan in the world, but he does read some comic books, including Conan comic books. And they just had an interview with Jim Zub. I'm really bothered that Zub won't, well, not won't, but he hasn't done an interview with me. I asked him like 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, will you do an interview with me? And every so often afterwards, I'd ask him, would you do an interview with me? And he's always, I'm always busy. I'm always busy. I'm always busy. It's like he doesn't have time to do anything with me. But when I show up at a comic convention, I see him. He's like, he's great. He remember like he's like, hey, professor. I'm like, holy shit, he remembers I'm Professor Bill. Wow, that's interesting. Like almost nobody else remembers that. Some people do, but like Jim Zub is one of the people I can count on. He always knows, what I'm saying? He's watched at least a couple of my, videos before, whatever. Awesome. He like corrected me the one time. He's like, no, that character's not actually in the book. You got that character wrong. I'm like, I didn't get that character wrong. You got the character wrong. I go back and I look, I'm like, oh, crap, I got the character wrong. You figure Zub knows who he's writing, right? Anyway, he went and did an interview with Midnight's Edge about him writing Conan because he's going to be writing Conan now. I think sometimes you need to actually look at your the people investigate the people who you're going to go on their channel because Midnight's Edge is not just Comicsgate friendly. They're pretty much a part of Comicsgate at this point. For the longest time, they've been saying all these negative things against Brie Larson and feminism and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't think you actually know what feminism is. You know what I'm saying? Least off actually understand what it is that Brie Larson said. Like taking a quote out of context, you sound like a freaking politician at this point. What are you doing, Andre? I remember I talked to Andre one time just online, just like literally a typing thing. I saw him in a live chat once, and I messaged him, and he responded to me. I was like, listen, Andre, I love what what you do, like the content that you cover and whatnot, but lately you really have started to get a little bit toxic, and it bothers me where you're going with the channel. And he's like, I think that the thing that's more toxic is getting all these death threats from people and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, are you kidding me? Because to me, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm defining these words wrong, but toxic and criminality are two totally separate matters. You know what I'm saying? Having someone make a death threat is something that you can actually, if that's actually happening, then you could very easily just call the police and say, hey, contact YouTube. Hey, I'm being harassed by this person. This person made a death threat. They've got really serious rules against that and repercussions. They will dox you to the police at least. You know what I'm saying? Like not a full dox. They will report you to the police. I don't, honestly, man, I don't get it. So I don't know what that's all about. But like you literally just strawmanned an argument. You ignored the argument and you made your own topic to talk about. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? I'm talking about you being toxic. You're talking about people making death threats to you. Like this is the biggest freaking diversion, bait and switch that I see and done in politics all the time. You don't answer the question. You answer a question that you imagine was asked. So you reframe it so that you can answer that question instead. It's like, that's not the question I asked you. And hopefully nobody in here is stupid enough to recognize that. Anyway, so I've been seeing that. And then the one time he actually goes and he's like, if you want to see some good comic book channels, all right, go and check out. And he advertises for Ethan Van Sciver and Zach Myers, whatever the hell his name is, Richard Myers. I'm like, are you kidding me? He literally just declared Comicsgate. He declared himself Comicsgate. And then Jim Zub goes on there and does the interview with him. And I didn't see the interview. I didn't hear it. I'm going to because I want to know what I'm looking at. But I'm like really disappointed to see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Oh, man. Wow. But okay. Okay, cool. Whatever. It is what it is. I got to see what was said and whatnot. Like, because Zub doesn't seem, he doesn't, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Zub doesn't seem like the type that would be for Comicsgate. I actually mentioned it before and he grimaced when I brought up Comicsgate. So I would figure that he's not for them. Um, I don't know. Like I said, I'm gonna have to check that out and I'll try and get back to you guys because that's not cool. Um, what we got here? I must disagree with you on one more thing. America Chavez is awesome. I love her character, and she was the greatest. Or she was great, most notably in Superior Spider-Man. Still sad that it's gone. War of the Realms. Um, please send me the numbers that I can look for where she was at because I read the Superior Spider-Man. I don't remember her being in Superior Spider-Man either run. I don't remember her being in either run. Smarten me up on that, man. Because I would love to read something good with America Chavez. I just don't see the character as I don't see her as being a bad character, but I do see I'm mostly going by the idea of the sales. The sales of that book just simply did not exist. You know what I'm saying? Like the like I said, the biggest thing that got me was I look on Comixology every so often. I'll buy from Comixology if I can't find the actual physical comic book, you know? But I was looking at Comixology, and the day that the final issue, I believe, was issue number 12 of America, was it called America? Anyway, America Chavez, whatever it was, I can't remember what it was called. But that comic book that she had, the day that that final issue was being released, it was full $3.99 cover price to buy it on Comixology. But you could buy the entire second volume of it, which was issue 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this issue number 12, for only 99 cents. So which one would you buy? Yeah, that told me like those comics are simply not selling. They simply weren't selling. The number of people, buying them, it was minuscule. So there's that. Um, Now that there is no Endgame movie soon, we'll see if the people went to see Captain Marvel because they were actually interested in it. Were they successful? No, good point. Good point, Mark. Hopefully they make it better though. Federico Blee is a Namor fan. Someone told me once. I don't remember because old. I love you, man. That there are no bad characters, only lazy writers. It's a possibility. It is certainly a possibility. Yeah, huge Namor fan. Huge freaking Namor fan. You know what? Okay, I'm going to say this online. This is something that I was thinking about, and I never mentioned. I don't think I ever mentioned it out loud, but it's an internal thought. Aryo Anindito from Indonesia is one of my favorite freaking artists right now. The guy does, and right now he's doing the pencils and inks. So he's doing the art for the Atlantis Attack storyline. He was doing the backup story, the original work right now for Swordmaster, and he's doing it with Swordmaster and Shang-Chi. Ares, God of War, was in it. And now he's doing the 5 issues of Atlantis Attacks, and I believe that this guy deserves a contract with Marvel because holy crap, he's a freaking amazing artist. And I was thinking recently with the Atlantis Attacks, no disrespect whatsoever to, I want Atlantis Attack to stay the way it is, but I would love to see somebody write a comic book and have Ario and Andito on pencils and inks, and he's got to do his own inks. I don't usually like other people doing his inks. And Federico Blee doing the colors. Because I feel like those two art styles, the way that these two work, I think that they would just work brilliantly with each other. So if you're still here, Federico, I would freaking love to see Marvel do something like that. But more work for you if you're not too busy. I know that you're coloring like half the freaking comic books in Marvel right now, but I would love to see it. I would genuinely love to see it. Um, didn't get to see it after Endgame. Didn't know she was in it. I like Captain Marvel film for the Rambeau. Yeah, dude. Oh my God, Monica Rambeau is just the best, and I need to see a Monica Rambeau film. I'm gonna start finishing up. Okay, Bagel, my leg just fell asleep. I'm sorry. I love you. I gotta put you down now. Boop. This is how I know that Sue Ann isn't in the chat anymore because, ouch. I'm not getting comments anymore about Bagel the Super Cat, Empress Bagel. Um, let's see. I own the whole set of Superior Spider-Man comic books, the whole line. Which issues was she in, please? Comics expertise. I don't like America Chavez because she used energy from Cyclops destroy a ship. Cyclops has that. Okay, that's actually really good use of her power. That's freaking awesome. Yeah, I didn't think about that because yeah, Mr. Sinister showed that it's actually his eyes open up into a dimension of that energy. Pastepot Pete is a pretty bad character. Yeah, the Trapster. You're going old school there with that name. I did enjoy Midnight's Edge. Then I saw they started talking about toxic femininity, and I unsubbed. Makosita, I hope I'm pronouncing your name the proper way. Yes, that's exactly what happened. And once they did that whole, advertising for Comicsgate, I looked at it and I was like, you know what? Yeah, unsubbed. Because like I had the bell icon rung. I don't have there's not a lot of people I follow that I keep the bell icon rung for. That was one of them because I loved how deep they got into the comic books. It was, or not the comic books, the movies, the comic book movies. Like it wasn't just, oh well, this news and this news and this, and that's what so many comic book channels I feel have turned into. They're just reporting, like you see the latest new Comics Book Cast 2. Like I have to name that. I feel like all that is anymore is like you're notified whenever this website or that website gives some kind of comic book news, and you go on there and you look at it and you read it a second time, and then you make a quick video and then you put it out, and it's like, and then I get like 500 views or 5,000 views on it, whatever it is, and it's like, dude, they actually used to have feasible content in the past, and I just don't see that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like it's sad, man. Too many people do that. And it's like I would love to be a news channel, saying talk about comic book news, but I'd have to do the investigative journalist part. I can't just be like reporting on what other people are already saying. What's the point? How is that not plagiarism? Um let's see. Comic Book University. America Chavez was in the Superior Spidey War of the Realms tie-in. Oh, yeah, okay, I saw that. Her solo run was yeah, that's what I'm referring to, the solo run, which mind you, I didn't actually read her solo run. I read that little thing that she was in with Spidey, and I saw the Al Ewing's uh Ultimates, his Ultimates 1 and Ultimates 2 comic book, and she was in that, and it's like I just didn't really see a lot of use for the character. Also, Kelly Thompson was writing the West Coast Avengers West Coast. I forget which title it was used because they've done both, and then Force Works eventually. Anyway, I read that and I didn't really see any use for her character in there either. Thompson's awesome. She made it, and the book was drawn beautifully. Got to say that. No, I don't have to say that. I'm saying it. It was drawn beautiful. I loved it. I think it was, perfect the way it was drawn. It fit everything. And we got to introduce Jeff the Land Shark, my mortal enemy. But I'll put him up against Baby Yoda any day of the week. Yiddle. His name is Yiddle. Anyway, yeah, her character in there had a couple of fun moments, but for the most part, I just don't like the character. I don't like that. It's not even just hard-headed. I guess there's a place for that character, but I just don't see it as being a very fun character. I really don't. Trapster is used wrong is all, not to his full potential. Mr. Blee, I love that idea too. I just watched Atlantis Attacks, and you're right. He is awesome. Yeah, I love his work. Oh God, I would love to see you two in a comic book together. Maybe I could write it. I have a lot of proving to do before that happens. Trapster is a better name for sure. Oh, 100%. Look for who? Huh? What's this? Look for who? I don't know what that is. But I am at the bottom of the comment. Ah, crap. Remender had a good uncanny run. He did. He definitely did. Now I'm at the bottom of the bottom of the comments list. So, and there's like a 15-second delay, so you guys are screwed. Anyway, guys, so I am going to bounce now. Love you all. Thank you all for showing up. Yeah, and I'm out. I've got a couple things to do, and I'm just going to hang out and watch some Boy Meets World with the wife if she's still awake. I don't think she is. She is. Sweet. I'm watching the Boy Meets World. All right, love you guys. You're never at the bottom. Send me a freaking email, Chillmonger. I'll talk to you later, guys. All right, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed. Oh, like and subscribe and you know the deal. Love you guys.